Chapter 1541. Almost a year had passed since the opening of the 10,000 tribe battlefield. These days, the situation in the major regions was inevitably tense. Many young sky prides were eager to make a move. It was worth mentioning that there were close to 1,000 sky prides in the major regions who were reflecting the space-time wormhole. There was no doubt that a terrifying era was coming. At the same time, it also indicated that many Void Immortal experts would die in battle. The battle of 10,000 powerhouses was about to begin. The atmosphere in the entire 10,000 tribe battlefield was quiet all day long. The number of important figures in the outside world continued to increase. Everyone wanted to know how many spots the young people from their clans would obtain in the top 10,000 list. 1,000 sky prides reflecting the space-time wormhole. This has never happened in the Emperor Road before. It's really a golden era. In the undying heavenly domain, some of the big shots were paying close attention. Based on the time, it would probably take less than a month. The exciting moment was about to arrive. So what does it have to do with us? Some of the elders from the smaller sect side. Some things were very cruel. More than half of the 10,000 great regions were controlled by the immortal sects. What was this? Could this be considered as predetermined? This caused a lot of anger. In the past, when the Celestial Court set the rules of the Emperor Road, such things would never happen. Now, the major immortal sects had divided their territories and started to prohibit experts from other orthodoxies from entering their territories. The remaining territories were almost all occupied by the stronger clans. Damn it! Under such circumstances, the top 10,000 list is an unspoken rule. Yeah, once the competition starts, it's equivalent to declaring war on an entire immortal sect. This is ridiculous. Many people were angry, but it was useless. They did not dare to voice their anger. At the same time, this was a mutual restraint for the other prosperous orthodoxies to prevent them from obtaining too many spots. If only the Celestial Court was still around, some people sighed. If this continued, the Battle of the Emperor Road would no longer have anything to do with the small sections. It would become a competition between all the immortal sections. In the past, the Celestial Emperor of the Celestial Court established the rules and order of the Emperor Road. He gave them a fair and competitive environment to pick out the young overlords who could truly dominate the world. However, it seemed that the Emperor Road would become a place where only the immortal sects could compete for resources. After all, Emperor Road was rich in resources. Many young people wanted to rise up here. However, it seemed that this rare opportunity had been lost. The Celestial Court can't even protect itself now. I received news that the Second Supreme of the Celestial Court will attack the Cien people's third city. When that time comes, the Celestial Court will most likely not get a single spot. In the past, during the glory days of the Celestial Court, they would get at least dozens, or even hundreds. This was just a rumor that was hard to verify. However, there was no need to prove this. The Cien people would never allow the Celestial Court to grow stronger. If the Battle of the 10,000 really started, then the Cien people's Cien Kuei would definitely attack the Yin Imperial City and snatch away the only great region they ruled. Yin Imperial City was as calm as ever. Big brother, I've become a pseudo-immortal. Dali was so excited that he scratched his head. In front of Su Yin, he looked like a follower as he grinned. Dali, you're also an awesome person now. Emperor Nan sighed as he recalled some unbearable memories. Back then, Dali was still his servant. Now, he had become a pseudo-immortal. Ha ha ha! Emperor Nan, you'll be there soon too. Dali laughed. In the past, they were like brothers who went through thick and thin together. Very good. Su Yin laughed. Things had gone beyond his expectations. The Yin Emperor organization sent over 2 rare Yuan Shun secret treasures. In the end, Tensor and Dali strengthened their primordial spirits and formed immortal Dao realm primordial spirits. As such, Dali, Tensor, Yuan, and Miser were 4 pseudo-immortal experts. Dali, you and Tensor will go to the third city of the underworld. Yuan said, remember, it's okay if you don't get a slot, but you must survive. We'll have plenty of opportunities in the future. Can we get 2 slots? Miser was doubtful. He wanted to go to the strange heaven sect with Yuan. I've been to many large regions over the years and met many sky prides. Don't underestimate them. Yuan shook his head and said, "We don't have enough experience. We haven't fought with a pseudo-immortal overlord. We can't be careless." Big brother Yuan is right, Dali said in a muffled voice. The power sect can only be considered a mid-tier immortal sect. However, there are 5 or 6 experts in the sect who can compete with me. Although I've reached the pseudo-immortal realm, the power sect also has powerful pseudo-immortal experts. Although the pseudo-immortals in the third city of the underworld are relatively weaker, we can't underestimate them. In this month, Flame Sparrow had gathered a lot of information. The competition between 10,000 experts was fierce. They had to be careful. After all, the competition on the Emperor's Road had just begun. The true immortal realm was the cruelest. Of course, it was not the time to act yet. Another half a month passed. Liang Yan did not disappoint. She had refined 7 true immortal pills. She was so tired that she was about to collapse. She was in a daze. She could not believe that she had refined 7 true immortal pills. This showed how important immortal herbs were. If there were enough immortal herbs, it was the strongest way to strengthen the backbone of a tribe. Originally, there were 10 true immortals in the Flame Emperor organization. Now there were 4 more. This powerful and ridiculous method of refining pills had won the respect of the soldiers in the city. She was really a treasure. There was no doubt that Liang Yan had become the apple of the Flame Emperor organization's eye. Report: the Xian People's army is attacking. They want to conquer the Flame Emperor region. The news exploded in the ancient city. Su Yin looked into the distance with his eye of heaven evasion. He saw that the Xian people had thousands of elite soldiers coming. However, they had no intention of invading the region. Where are they coming from? Su Yan's eyes were cold. The second major region controlled by the Primal Chaos Paradise borders the Flame Emperor region. The Flame Emperor organization's intelligence agency quickly came to report. So it is them. It looks like the Xian people are preparing to invade the Flame Emperor region from the major region controlled by the Primal Chaos Paradise. Su Yan laughed angrily. Back then, the Primal Chaos Valley in the profound yellow universe was a faction created by the Primal Chaos Paradise. Yin K, if you cannot defend this major region, go directly to the Primal Chaos Paradise's second major region to fight for a spot in the top 10,000. Su Yan's words made Yin K curl her lips. She said, doubtfully, the Primal Chaos Paradise is despicable. However, I want to fight for a spot in the top 10,000 in the former third major region of the Xian people. I want to crush the Xian people's prestige. When Su Yan heard this, he said softly, although that is good, you have to be careful of one person. The Heavenly Bamboos, Zhu Yanghua. Zhu Yanghua, I know him. Yin K frowned slightly and said, I might not lose to him, right? The Heavenly Bamboos bloodline is no longer the Heavenly Bamboos bloodline of the past. It has lost its foundation. No, Zhu Yanghua is different. You cannot underestimate him. Otherwise, you will suffer greatly. Su Yan warned her seriously. Zhu Yanghua had obtained the Heavenly Bamboos primogenitor's root. This person's combat prowess was not to be underestimated. Even if Su Yan ran into him, you would have to be careful. To think that there is such a thing as the primogenitor's good fortune. This group of traitors really deserves to die. Yin K's expression changed. She had not expected Zhu Yanghua to have such a fortuitous encounter. The Heavenly Bamboos primogenitor's root was a rare treasure. It was equivalent to giving Zhu Yanghua the strongest foundation. His future was limitless. Of course, whether Zhu Yanghua would come or not was another problem. However, if Zhu Yanghua really came, Yin K would definitely meet a shocking enemy. The Xian People's vanguard has sealed off the third major region. They are preparing to attack. As I expected, they are preparing to attack the third major region after the start of the competition between the 10,000-strong city. They are trying to stop the Celestial Court from dominating. It seems like Xian Kuei is going to have a life-and-death battle with the young Demon King. He is the son of the Xian People's primogenitor. It is hard to imagine how powerful he is. The Celestial Court and the Cien people. Is this a battle between the strongest descendants? Can the young demon king withstand the attack of the primogenitor's son? The next day, some major regions in the 10,000 tribe battlefield were in an uproar. Whether or not the Celestial Court could rise depended on this battle. No, how can the young demon king who killed Xian Jun be an ordinary person? There were also people who were optimistic about Su Yan. In short, the grudges between the two major tribes would be settled in the Emperor Road battle arena. This was considered the most popular life and death battle in the competition between the 10,000 strong. 3 days later, a vast aura swept across the entire 10,000 tribe battlefield. It shook the heavens and the earth, causing the entire world to tremble. Is it coming? Su Yan was shocked. The energy fluctuation was quite shocking. It was as if a magnificent universe was blooming. Tens of thousands of major regions roared in unison. Then, the ancient path to heaven glowed. It was as if the heavenly bridge that pierced through the universe was coming to life. It surged with an aura that transcended the past, present, and future. Boom! From this moment on, the path to heaven suddenly extended into the chaotic zone. It was as if it pierced through an ancient chaotic realm, revealing the vicissitudes of time. It was also accompanied by the strongest energy fluctuation from the ancient times. It covered the entire 10,000 tribe battlefield. The Golden Treasure Land, everyone exclaimed. The third stage of the Emperor Road was about to open. Once the second stage of the competition was over, the Golden Treasure Land would also be in full bloom. The blurry world was steaming with ancient, chaotic, immortal brilliance. It was as if a slumbering, chaotic ancient emperor was waking up. The aura it exhaled was extremely majestic. It shook the entire 10,000 tribe battlefield. This is the third stage of the 10,000 tribe battlefield. Su Yan clenched his fists. He was shocked. The aura was extremely majestic. It was difficult to imagine how majestic it was even if it was just a corner of the world. Unfortunately, everything was too blurry. It was difficult to see what was inside. Let me out. I, the Beast God, am going to fight for the top 10,000 and kill the Cien people. All of a sudden, a voice of indignation rang out from the ancient chaos world. Did you hear that? Some cultivators with powerful primordial spirits looked as if they had seen a ghost. They asked a group of experts who were very close to the Golden Treasure Land. Did you hear it wrong? The Golden Treasure Land hasn't opened yet. There are shocking immortal Dao laws. Who can break the rules and enter in advance? Many people were stunned. This was the rule of the Emperor Road. Even if a grand heavenly realm expert came, they could forget about opening the third stage of the creation ground in advance. Especially now that the competition for the top 10,000 had begun, tens of thousands of great regions were blazing and rolling. Every major region had an Emperor Road battle platform, which was filled with the glory of ancient times. The entire world fell silent all of a sudden. The silence was suffocating. Boom! In an instant, the universe trembled, the mountains roared, and the sun and moon were destroyed. The Golden Age had arrived. Millions of sky prides roared, filling the air with terrifying power. It has begun. The outside world was in an uproar. The Emperor Road competition had begun. It was very sudden, but it also made them excited. Once the top 10,000 list was revealed, it would be true glory and glory. Junior brother had arrived. Everyone attack. Everyone attack. The second great region of the Cien people had countless elite soldiers following the order. It could be said that they had turned out in full force. However, Yin Imperial City was also under military orders. Third update delivered. Chapter 1542. The Golden Age is here. Tens of thousands of territories resonated and tens of thousands of Emperor Road battle platforms appeared, representing glory and legend. In the outside world, the important figures of various races were unable to calm down. They looked at the tens of thousands of Emperor Road battle platforms that appeared on the path to heaven. They knew that the strongest successors of their orthodoxies would soon become famous. Similarly, a terrifying giant sighed and said, "Once upon a time, I conquered the Emperor Road. I had no hope of becoming one of the top 100. I could only look up to a group of gods. Once upon a time, I admired their invincibility and the legendary feats they created. But looking back, I stood at the peak and looked down on the world. Finally, it contained his domineering aura and his essence. Once upon a time, he was a genius who looked up to the Emperor rankings. He was a late bloomer and finally achieved supreme Tao fruit. There were very few people like him. To be more precise, there were too few of them. Even among the top 10 of the Emperor rankings, there were very few of them. Of course, the top 10 of the Emperor rankings were very powerful. Even the top 10 was quite shocking. This was once the Celestial Court, a training ground for the strongest geniuses. Among the top 10,000, one or two had a chance of becoming a grand heavenly realm. It was enough to show how powerful the Emperor rankings were. They were even said to be the top 100 or top 10. "Thank you, Celestial Court," the giant murmured. "I heard that the Celestial Court has a rising star who conquered the Cien people's third city. I'm very relieved. I hope that the Celestial Court can rise again and achieve glory." The appearance of the strongest successor of the Celestial Court and the defeat of Cien Jun made many people look forward to the rise of this race. Their destruction was completely caused by the Dark Calamity. They did not lose to the Immortals, nor did they lose to the Underworld. Everyone thought that the Celestial Court was destroyed because of the Cien people. Some people wanted to see the Celestial Court rise again and achieve glory. However, the prerequisite was that there must be a strong leader. So what if they were 10,000 strong? Only in the final and strongest battle for supremacy could they show their majesty, and only then could they truly comfort the dead of the heavenly court. Rumble. The entire 10,000 tribe battlefield. Billowing waves like millions of tsunamis bombarded the sky. It was an unprecedented golden age. Wasn't a golden age? After 1,000,000 years, the Emperor's Road that had been sealed for a long time had opened up once again. The amount of Emperor's Road that spouted out was shocking. Even the son of the sect master of the immortal tribe was not the first honorable. One could only imagine what kind of trump card some immortal sects had hidden. Kill. Let's fight. Invincible. Even the immortal sect orthodoxies that were firmly under the control of the Emperor's Road had also erupted into terrifying battles. There were young King Realm cultivators who were fearless as they rushed towards the Emperor Road battle platform, wanting to carve out a path for themselves. This beast god wants to go too. I don't want to be absent. Low growls could be heard from the blurry golden treasure ground. A huge beast shadow was about to rush out. However, no matter how hard it struggled, it could not leave the golden treasure ground. Damn it, Ingia, I'm too outstanding. That's why the heavens are jealous. Damn it. Without me, the beast god, the Celestial Court won't be able to kill the Cien people. It thought so. It felt that its potential was too great. The Emperor Road battlefield was jealous of it. That was why it was not allowed to participate. The Golden Age, the battle between the 10,000 strong, had completely begun. A huge ranking board crossed the entire 10,000 tribe battlefield. It was flickering. In the end, it would bear the weight of the 10,000 strong list. A brand new list. Boom. A loud explosion resounded in the great territory under the sky bamboo lineage's control. The people of the heavenly bamboo were excited. They saw a huge green passage open. A person stepped out of it. It was too bright and dazzling. It was as if he was rooted in the universe, breathing in the entire starry sky, and surging with power. How was this possible? Jiuyang and the others trembled and almost fell to the ground. This was a terrifying pressure that made them feel suffocated. Zhu Yanghua had come out of seclusion. His strength had exceeded their expectations. Each of the hollow immortals seemed weak in front of him. From this moment on, they felt that Zhu Yanghua was a young paragon who could look down on the entire grand domain. I'm here. Zhu Yanghua was majestic. In almost a year, he had changed too much. His whole body had merged with the heavenly bamboo root. He could reverse the battle strength at any time and suppress the kings of the same generation. Greetings, Saint. A large number of people knelt on the ground. There was nothing to say. Zhu Yanghua was the saint. This was because Zhu Yao had also come out. She was extremely dim. Besides Zhu Yanghua, she was reduced to a green leaf. Where is Xia Kunlun? Zhu Yanghua said coldly. I'm going to kill him. I want to thank him personally for the good fortune he gave me. The whole place was in an uproar. Their emotions were also surging. They could finally take revenge. Currently, the young Devil King was in the third city of the Xian people. According to intelligence, the Xian people's Xian Kuei was about to kill the young Devil King. Zhu Yanghua laughed. He had obtained the good fortune of his ancestor. Xian Kuei was just the son of the Xian people's ancestor's disciple. In his heart, the two of them were not in the same space and time. He wanted to kill the young Devil King. Xian Kuei could not stop him. F***CK. Zhu Jiuyang cursed. What had Zhu Yanghua obtained? Who gave him the courage to snatch food from the tiger's mouth? Was he so sure that he could kill the young Devil King? That's right, Zhu Yanghua had left. He wanted to go to Yin Imperial City and kill the young Devil King to wash away his humiliation. There was even a knot in his heart. Where was Bamboo Moon? He did not find Bamboo Moon. There was no trace of her in the celestial bamboo forest. Could it be that Bamboo Moon had left long ago? As for Bamboo Moon entering the depths of the celestial bamboo forest, Zhu Yanghua felt that it was impossible. She was so strong that she had only reached the 6th stage of the celestial bamboo forest. However, the celestial bamboo forest had 9 heavenly stages. Xian people's second city. Countless soldiers and horses neighed. Saber lights and sword shadows covered them. They were clad in armor, making them look like a group of gods and demons. Good soldiers and horses. Good soldiers and horses. Zhu Sheng clapped his hands and shouted as if he was cheering for them. 10,000 elite soldiers gathered in the Xian people's second city. Of course, a few thousand of them had already rushed to the Yin Imperial City and sealed off the entire region. This was to prevent the Celestial Court from escaping. As the massive teleportation arrays opened one after another, batches of battle teams rushed into them and prepared to set off. There were a total of 10 teleportation formations in the second city. They were all constructed during this period. They were prepared to mobilize 10,000 elite soldiers to the battlefield in a short period of time. Kill the Celestial Court and show the might of our Xian people. I have waited for this day for more than a month. It is finally here. Ha ha ha. Celestial Court, prepare to die. Large numbers of soldiers and horses roared in the 10 teleportation formations. Blood chi surged between them, and killing intent leaked out. This was very shocking. Killing intent surged out, covering the sky and the sun. I will wait for your triumphant return. Zhu Sheng shouted along with them from the crowd and waved at them. I think I could see the corpse of the young demon lord. More than 1,000 elite soldiers remained in the second city to guard it. Some people also looked at the high and mighty Xian Kuei, who was like a supreme deity. Xian Kuei was very domineering. He did not take the teleportation formation. He wanted to tear apart the path to heaven and kill his way to Yin Imperial City. He wanted to enter the battlefield in his strongest state and shock the world with one battle. Crack! Just as the emotions of the Xian people were raging in the second city, the sky was filled with shouts and roars. An ear-piercing cracking sound suddenly rang out. The entire city fell silent. Almost at the same time, the 10 teleportation formations trembled. Suddenly, the formation marks became chaotic, and a space-time crack was formed. What happened? The spectators outside were also dumbfounded. What was going on? Were the 10 teleportation formations unstable and about to explode? They were watching how the Xian people's army set off in glory and how they would trample on Yin Imperial City. But what were they seeing now? The 10 teleportation formations that carried the troops and horses had collapsed. In the process, the formation marks became chaotic and went berserk, forming a terrifying space-time crack. Suddenly, the world changed drastically. Blood filled the sky. The entire second city of the Xian people turned into a living hell in a short period of time. Too many people died. The pungent smell of blood was nauseating. The space-time formation that traversed large regions collapsed. This was a huge matter. Countless unlucky people were sucked into the space-time crack and killed in both body and soul. Those who survived were terrified. They trembled and retreated frantically, leaving the teleportation formation. As for Xian Kuei, he was trying his best to control his emotions. His face was ashen as if he had eaten a pile of shit. His expression was as ugly as it could get. They couldn't wait to cut the formation master into pieces. Be Asterisk starred. Xian Kuei roared. His eyes were red. This was a great humiliation. The dazed people of the world started to sympathize with him. His glorious days had been met with such a huge change in life. He might as well have eaten shit, boom. In an instant, a vast wave of energy surged. It was as if the galaxy had collapsed. It bombarded the second city of the Xian people and shook violently. Roar! The galaxy in the sky shook. The sun and moon swayed. The golden creature descended. His roar shook the entire starry sky. Even a huge, ancient city was shaking. At this moment, the long day song was so powerful that it was suffocating. The golden horn pierced through space-time. The moment the golden body charged out, it released endless immortal light that illuminated the world. The long day song charged over. Yin and Yang Qi spewed out his mouth and nose. He took heavy steps like an invincible supreme being. Su Yin sat on the long day song's back. He carried the silver dragon sword on his back. His cold eyes, messy black hair, and shocking majesty. The moment the long day song raised its head and roared, an invincible might bloomed. It was enough to destroy the world. Xian Kuei, I'm here to kill you. Come and accept your death. The cold voice resounded between heaven and earth. The might of an expert erupted like the sea and swept across the entire region. This was a sovereign descending to the world. Fourth update. It's almost nighttime. I'll go and rest first. Chapter 1543. The Xian people's second city had turned into a living hell. The 10 great teleportation formations collapsed one after another, creating a space-time storm that killed a large number of elite soldiers. Su Yin descended from the lower world. His aura could swallow mountains and rivers. His cold eyes, disheveled black hair, and shocking words shocked the entire world. Xian Kuei, I'm here to kill you. Come and accept your death. A deafening voice exploded in the Xian people's second city. It rumbled endlessly and contained a terrifying, penetrating power that swept through everyone's soul. This stance, this aura, this domineering aura stunned everyone's soul. They were all in a daze as they looked at the majestic figure descending from the sky and the mighty long day song. All of them felt respect from the bottom of their souls. What was this? The Xian people's second city's army was about to attack Yin Imperial City and start a shocking battle. But now, Su Yin had come and taken the initiative to attack. He was charging towards the second city of the immortals. One man and one horse, terrifying and tyrannical. He had the grand aura of swallowing rivers and mountains, intimidating all life in the universe. Roar! The roar was ferocious. It was like the roar of a heavenly dragon that shook the sun, moon, and stars. Long Daesong charged over like a golden comet. His body was ferocious and huge, covered in dense scales. On his huge head, golden horns were like the horns of an immemorial dragon, surging with unparalleled power. What a joke! The Long Daesong, who was in the true immortal realm, was incredible. In an instant, he crashed through the gates of the Xian people's second city. Along with the group of stunned soldiers at the gates, they exploded into blood. There was also a terrifying aura that rushed towards the entire city, completely breaking the silence in the city. This was a bone-chilling killing intent that swept over and drowned the entire city. Long Daesong's divine power was overwhelming. Although he had just stepped into the true immortal realm and hadn't had time to stabilize, just the current Long Daesong was like an invincible sacred beast. Countless people trembled. The killing intent was bone-chilling. It was about to cut their souls and tear their bodies apart. Boom! The entire second city of the Cien people shook violently. Under the trampling of the golden armored cavalry, every step was thunderous. The streets of the city gate exploded. Then, a surging wave of golden energy accompanied by terrifying life fluctuations rushed out, destroying the heavens and exterminating the earth. Numerous buildings collapsed, and large numbers of enemy troops trembled like sand. In short, Long Daesung's mana was monstrous, shaking the entire second city of the Cien people. He was like a real dragon overlooking a group of ants. What kind of creature is that? It's too scary. What terrifying magic power. What a domineering physical body. Is this a sixth heavenly layer, true immortal? Why do I feel like it's even more terrifying than the young Devil King? Just what kind of supreme existence does it belong to? The entire world was shaken. The major characters of various races watching the battle from the outside were all alarmed. They found it hard to believe and were all frightened by Long Daesung's strength. He had directly knocked down the city gates and slaughtered his way into the ancient city in such a manner. It was quite shocking. Even the big shots of the demon race were shocked. What kind of creature was that? They had never heard of it before. It had horns on its head and an yin-yang diagram on its back. It was like an ancient sacred beast had attacked. It caused a huge storm in the second city of the Cien people. The figure on the sacred beast's aura became more and more terrifying. His killing intent was boundless. Even Long Daesung's aura was fully awakened. Almost instantly, it swept across the second city and shook the 10 collapsed transportation formations. Plop! More than a dozen formation masters knelt on the ground, trembling. They were so frightened that their souls had scattered. They had never thought that the 10 major transportation formations would collapse and such a problem would occur. Now is not the time to find out who is responsible. They might all be executed. Under such glory, such a melodramatic incident had occurred. The whole world was laughing at the Cien people. Now, the young Devil King had come. He had slaughtered his way into the second city of the Cien people alone. This was a shocking scene, a visual impact. B** starred. Cien Kue roared. He tried his best to control his emotions and suppress his rage. But even so, he was still trembling with anger. No matter how good he was at maintaining his composure, at this moment, he felt his face burning. He felt like he had been slapped in the face by Su Yan. It was definitely him. The young Devil King was a grandmaster. It must be Su Yan's doing. He must have tampered with the 10 major transportation formations. But the second city of the Cien people was heavily guarded. Who could sneak in? Could there be a traitor in the family? Bam, bam, bam. The third city of the Cien people was stained with blood. The 10 major transportation formations were completely destroyed. Thousands of elite soldiers died tragically. Blood spilled down like a waterfall, flowing in the ancient city. The pungent smell of blood dyed the entire sky red. The entire second domain of the Cien people was dyed red. The young Devil King, a general of the Cien people, roared. His eyes were red. Thousands of elite soldiers died tragically. Although half of them survived, the tens of thousands of Cien people's elite soldiers were already greatly weakened before the war even began. 100 deaths won't be enough to redeem you. 100 deaths won't be enough to redeem you. Looking at the second city of the Cien people, which was a living hell on earth, the surviving true immortals of the Cien people let out hysterical roars. They hated him to the core and felt extremely humiliated. Their emotions were really on the verge of exploding. It was supposed to be a glorious day, but now their reputation had been swept to the ground. Who could bear it? Kill! Su Yan roared. He activated the Long Daesung. His entire body shone with divine light. He drew the silver dragon sword and slashed forward. One man and one horse. Heaven and earth were thrown into chaos. Boundless divine light erupted, plowing out a bloody path. The silver dragon sword blazed brilliantly, its radiance overflowing into the heavens. It simply hacked down the entire sky, dyed in blood. It was exceptionally terrifying. One man and one horse killed their way here. The 10 major transportation formations collapsed. Everything happened in an extremely short period of time. Su Yan had arrived. Like a demonic god that had broken through the earth, he charged toward the second city of the immortals. One street after another trembled and then exploded. The sword light that filled the sky also tore everything apart. Fast, too fast. Su Yan's sword was even faster than the silver lightning. It tore through the void and produced the great crack slash. It was also like a silver dragon had drilled out to reap human lives. Under the activation of the sword body art, the silver sword embryo shone brighter. Heads and flesh flew all over the sky. The tragic aura was vast and mighty. Some of the important figures in the sword sect were overwhelmed with emotions. The silver dragon sword was a rare treasure of the sword sect. It had always been in the family's treasury, waiting for an outstanding disciple to obtain it. But they didn't expect that the silver dragon sword would fall into Su Yan's hands in the end. A treasured sword for a hero. Good. The blacksmith who forged the silver dragon sword was so old that he was about to die. He had lived for too long. Although his chi and blood had dried up, he still radiated an ancient aura. He looked at the silver dragon sword with a pair of cloudy eyes, and he was very excited. If one wanted to control this killing sword, one would not be able to do so without absolute combat strength. This killing weapon made Su Yan like a tiger that had grown wings. All the immortal Tao secret treasures in the sky that were blocking his path were all destroyed. Boom! In the end, a 300,000-foot-long silver sword dragon slashed down with a force that could split the sky open. The ground cracked and rocks rolled. The second city was almost destroyed. The violent energy waves swept across the entire city, dimming it. Some people were suspicious. Why didn't the second city of the Xian people activate any protective formation after such a destructive attack? In fact, the group of array masters in charge of maintaining the ancient city's formation were so anxious that they almost peed their pants. The entire city's protective formation was empty. They couldn't control it or activate it. They could only watch as Su Yan charged in with a peerless momentum. "You're courting death." Xian Kuei was furious. His eyes were bloodshot as he roared. "One man and one horse. You want to break into my city? Men, kill him." After a short period of time, Xian Kuei gave the order. Thousands of elite soldiers in the blood-stained second city were revived. Although it was difficult for them to gather into a battle formation in a short period of time, they still managed to disperse Su Yan's aura. Although the teleportation formation had collapsed, there were still more than 4,000 Xian people's elite soldiers who survived. Of course, there was also a group of them who were currently in the Yin Emperor Great Region. Kill! A deafening roar exploded. Boundless killing intent surged and surged. However, this wasn't the work of the Xian people's elite soldiers. Zhu Sheng tossed out a huge formation plate, which instantly burned and created a golden space-time wormhole. Boom! The entire world changed color. The entire space-time was drowned in killing light. Countless soldiers and horses followed closely behind. Their chi and blood surged, shaking the heavens and the earth. How is this possible? Some of the Xian people's generals stuttered as they looked at the space-time formation in full bloom and the charging soldiers and horses. They were frightened. They actually took the initiative to attack and counterattacked the Xian people. Had the times changed? Celestial Court's bloodline was actually counterattacking and even slaughtering their way here in such a manner. This drove them mad, and they roared hysterically, "Celestial Court, you're courting death." Boom, boom, boom. 500 cavalrymen. Their footsteps were neat and uniform. Divine soldiers descended from the heavens. 500 cavalrymen had arrived. They descended upon the Xian people's second city. All of them exuded an extremely powerful and domineering spiritual will. They formed an ancient dragon that patrolled the skies. Boom! The entire city trembled. It was difficult to resist the aura fluctuations of the 500 cavalrymen. Their footsteps were neat and uniform. Moreover, all of them wore cold expressions and didn't say a word. Everything was too sudden and too fast. Kill them. Su Yin waved his hand. The military order was like an avalanche. Kill, kill, kill. The 500 cavalrymen instantly roared. The roars of the iron-blooded men shook the starry skies. They couldn't wait to tear their enemies apart. Heaven and earth changed. Sand and pebbles flew. Time and space were destroyed. Woo, woo, a blood-colored storm was born. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. Heavy rain poured down. The divine tiger descended. The dragons soared in the sky. The entire ancient city was collapsing. The aura that was about to tear the heavens expanded rapidly. It directly covered the entire battlefield. A murderous aura that shocked the heavens and earth and made ghosts and gods weep surged out. Kill, kill, kill. The roars could shatter rivers and mountains. The iron-blooded torrent was unstoppable. It was enough to shatter the enemy's courage. It surged out just like that. It was even said that the Li's leading generals were invincible. They crushed their enemies with their roars and wielded heavy weapons. They were terrifying beyond compare. I can't take it anymore, the spectators in the distant world trembled. They were so stimulated by the murderous aura that they almost fell to the ground. They were terrified. It was as if they had seen the end of the world. Divine soldiers descended from the heavens. The cavalrymen trampled on the Xian people's second city and stirred up huge waves. It was like the torrent of history that couldn't be rewritten. It was going to bury all the enemies. No one has ever dared to humiliate me. So what if you have such a lineup? I'll still crush you like a bug. Xian Kuei roared furiously at Su Yin. His chest heaved up and down violently. Although he was strong, he had been provoked to the point that he was about to go crazy. His eyes had turned red. The bloody slap had caused him to doubt his life. He reorganized his army and was ready to charge toward Yin Imperial City at any time. However, the Celestial Court's army was charging over. They made a shocking entrance. Similarly, they were trampling on the dignity of the Xian people. Su Yin charged toward the Emperor Road's battle platform. He looked at Xian Kuei and said coldly, "I'll give you a chance to crush me. Get on the platform and fight. I'll let you die with dignity. Brothers, please support me with your monthly votes." Chapter 1544. Young Demon King, who are you ignoring? Do you really think you're invincible in the Void Immortal realm? On the Emperor Road battle platform, the Xian people's Void Immortals glared at Su Yin. Their faces were dark. Since Xian Kuei had decided to head to Yin Imperial City, the slots would not be empty. As long as Xian Anshuan could become one of the top 10,000 on the Emperor ranking, the Xian people would still have 3 slots. Although the Xian people were confident that they could get more slots, the situation in the 10,000 tribe battlefield had already taken shape. The Xian people did not want to offend other immortal sects over a single slot. Moreover, 3 slots were already a lot. There were only 10,000 slots for the second stage of the Emperor Road. The Xian people could not take any more. Xian Anshuan, who was standing on the Emperor Road battle platform, was no weakling. He was a top Void Immortal expert. However, who would have thought that the young Demon King would appear in such a shocking manner? Xian Anshuan was furious that Su Yin had not even looked at him since he stepped onto the platform. "If you're not convinced, why don't you come over and fight?" Su Yin glanced at Xian Anshuan. He would not let him go. "You're really confident, young Demon King. Do you really think you're invincible?" Xian Anshuan shouted angrily. After all, he was a top Void Immortal. The moment his primordial spirit merged with his physical body, he was sacred and powerful. "What are you talking about? If you're afraid, then get lost. If you're not convinced, then come and kill me," Su Yin replied. "Be ****starred. Xian Anshuan's eyes widened in anger. His entire body emitted a holy glow as a Xian people's heaven technique was activated. Boom! An extremely shocking aura exploded on the Emperor Road battle platform. Xian Anshuan stood in his peak state and formed a shocking seal that suppressed Su Yin. "Stop!" Xian Kuei rushed toward the Emperor Road battle platform, wanting to stop the battle between Xian Anshuan and the young Demon King. However, it was too late. Xian Anshuan had already attacked Su Yin. He had a bad feeling and cursed Xian Anshuan in his heart. Even Patriarch Xian Jun lost to him. What right did he have to attack the young Demon King? It doesn't matter. We can still suppress his limelight for a short period of time. Xian Anshuan didn't think that he wouldn't be able to suppress the young Devil King's combined attacks with his cultivation and his strongest state. Young Devil King, I don't believe that you can defy the heavens. Xian Anshuan roared, releasing 120% of his battle prowess. Moreover, his entire body began to burn, causing the magical imprints to become even more world-shocking. In the end, the huge seal soared into the sky and filled up half of the battle platform with holy light. It had to be said that this strike was shockingly powerful. The great imprint covered the sun, and holy light erupted. In an instant, it suppressed downwards like a world-destroying magical imprint. It contained an extremely shocking destructive force. Boom! Su Yin brandished his fist and struck the seal, descending from the sky. His technique was simple and direct, but lacked a certain type of domineering aura. It was hard to compare it to the way Xian Anshuan descended from the sky and formed a magical imprint to kill him. However, when the fist imprint awakened, it was like a great star that came from the ancient times. It crashed down with a loud rumble, and a huge energy explosion occurred in this area. Su Yin was extremely valiant. He was among the ranks of peerless void immortals. His chi and blood were as vast as the sea. Even a casual punch from him contained an extremely freakish power. Boom! This punch caused the Xian people's magical imprints to explode. Layer after layer of fist imprints filled the world and crashed towards Xian Anshuan in unison. What? Xian Anshuan cried out in horror. He did everything he could to stop it, but it was useless. No matter how profound his techniques were and how shocking the defensive laws he constructed were, his entire body started to tremble violently. It was as if great stars in the universe were crashing into his flesh shell. Barf! In the end, he spat out a mouthful of blood. His body was in tatters, and he was sent flying like a dead dog. The people of the world were stunned. For a time, they didn't know what to say. The powerful Xian Anshuan channeled 120% of his strength and wanted to fight Su Yin for a while. In the end, he couldn't even withstand a single punch. What was this? Was he trying to kill himself? You're courting death. Someone sneered. Even Xian Jun was defeated by the young Devil King. What right did Xian Anshuan have to fight Su Yin? This was a young paragon who was destined to be an invincible overlord. He was powerful and prosperous. He let out a loud roar, and sound waves surged in the world like a boiling ocean. They covered the sky and covered the earth as they charged toward Xian Anshuan. Barf! He spat out another mouthful of blood and let out a low roar of extreme pain. The rolling sound waves penetrated his body through his pores, causing the sound of bones cracking to ring out from Xian Anshuan's blood-stained body. What terrifying power! That's a void immortal. Just how strong is the young Devil King? He can kill a void immortal expert with a single roar. This is something only a young paragon can do. Such a move stunned everyone in the world. Even the important figures of the various races who were watching the battle nodded. If this young Devil King didn't die, he would definitely become a great person in the future. Stop it right there. Xian Kuei had already charged to the Emperor Road's formation platform. There was no doubt about his strength. His body was filled with shocking divine might, as if it contained an immortal great world. As he breathed, immortal radiance filled the sky. This was the effect of a small success immortal body technique. It pushed his aura to the level of a peerless human immortal. Moreover, he attacked from a distance. His huge hand reached out. You want it? I'll return it to you. Su Yan's hand grabbed Xian Anshuan, whose body was trembling violently. Then, he swung Xian Anshuan around like a human-shaped weapon and smashed him towards Xian Kuei. Save me! Xian Anshuan cried out in fear. He had lost his graceful bearing. He was scared stiff. He felt as if his entire body was about to be torn apart. When Su Yin swung him around like a weapon, bloody light surged out of his pores. He was on the verge of death. B*****. Xian Kuei was enraged. How could he save Xian Anshuan? Even if he did save him, it would be difficult for Xian Anshuan to survive. In the end, a bloody scene was born. The entire Emperor Road's battle platform shook violently. Xian Kuei's palm hit Xian Kuei mercilessly. Moreover, it formed a supreme imprint of the Xian people. Its offensive power was unparalleled. Bam! Bloody light burst out in the sky. Xian Anshuan exploded. Su Yan's fist and Xian Kuei's palm collided in an instant. Wind and thunder roared, and muffled thunder rumbled. He's dead. He's dead. If I don't kill this kid, I won't be able to rest in peace. Don't worry. Xian Kuei has already made his move. A first-generation Supreme Being will definitely be able to kill the young Devil King. He'll die without a complete corpse or a proper burial ground. In the outside world, the big shots of the Xian people were furious. Another Void Immortal had died. Moreover, it was a grievous death. This was a Void Immortal expert. The Xian people had to pay a huge price to nurture any Void Immortal. 3 Void Immortals had died at the hands of Su Yan. In addition to Patriarch Xian Jun, the young Devil King had dealt a heavy blow to the Xian people. On the Emperor Road's battle platform, bloody light splattered and dyed Xian Kuei's body red. He didn't use his magic power to stop it. Instead, he allowed the bloody light to fall on his body, making him look like a blood-soaked immortal. Xian Kuei licked the blood on his lips and laughed sinisterly. You want to make a shocking entrance and kill me? You're really thinking too much. Xian Kuei was no longer calm. His immortal body technique was fully unleashed. When he entered his strongest state, his entire body seemed to be giving birth to an immortal firmament world. Boom! Even the void collapsed. It was difficult to resist the chi that Xian Kuei released. This was the immortal race's supreme heavenly technique, an immortal physique technique. In its peak state, the flesh shell was like a supreme human immortal that looked down on the young kings. Kill! Xian Kuei roared and rushed forward. This was not an ordinary collision. It was the most intense battle between supreme, treasured bodies. At present, some of the Emperor Road's battle platforms in the 10,000 tri-battlefield were engaged in fierce battles. However, there were some areas where no one dared to go. This also caused the big shots in the outside world to have no hope of watching the bloody battle between the young primes. Generally speaking, the strongest Ingjia could only be seen in the top 100. Now, the bloody battle between Xian Kuei and Su Yan had attracted the attention of all the strong people in the world. On the Emperor Road's battle platform, the two figures rose from the ground. The moment they charged at each other, a vast energy vortex was formed. Boom! The Grand Emperor Road's battle platform started to shake involuntarily. A series of loud noises spread across the entire region. It was deafening. The moment the two intimidating figures collided, a torrential wave of energy tore through the starry sky. Suddenly, people saw 2 shocking figures appear in the space-time wormhole. They seemed to be fighting each other, forming a terrifying collision. There was no doubt that they were both too powerful. They were sensed by the space-time wormhole and reflected at the same time. Only when one side was defeated could they dominate the space-time wormhole and become one of the 10,000 strong. Dong, dong, dong. The 2 blazing figures collided again and again. It was as if 2 great stars in the universe were colliding with each other. Again and again, the battle became more and more intense and terrifying. Give me your life, Xian Kuei roared. His body was burning with raging flames. Runes covered his body densely, and immortal energy filled the sky. This was the extreme state of the current stage of the immortal body technique. It affected the space-time of the battle platform and caused it to tremble. Su Yan's long black hair draped over his shoulders. His majesty was awe-inspiring, and his vitality was thick. He was like an indestructible immortal demon. Kill! He roared. His moves were wide open. Every strike was heavy and ferocious, suppressing forward. Kacha! The light of the immortal body technique that filled the sky was destroyed. The boundless attack shook everyone's heart. In the end, it formed an inconceivable scene. Su Yan pushed the entire space-time, and even his own aura surged. It was as if the heavens were falling and the earth was splitting. It was ferocious to the extreme. Xian Kuei's body trembled violently. His immortal body technique was somewhat unable to withstand Su Yan's terrifying attacks. It was as if he was bearing the brute force of the great stars in the heavens. Xian Kuei roared. It was somewhat difficult for him to resist. Su Yan's body exceeded his expectations. It was powerful and flourishing, and they were both supreme, treasured bodies. However, Su Yan's physical strength suppressed him. What? His immortal body technique was suppressed. Someone stammered. The young Devil King has an indestructible body. I didn't expect his immortal body technique to be suppressed. Everyone was in heated discussion. They felt that it was inconceivable. It was extremely difficult to determine who was superior in a battle between supreme, treasured bodies. Indestructible body. How did the young Devil King cultivate it? The people of the immortal race had complicated feelings. Although they didn't know how Su Yan cultivated the indestructible body, they didn't know whether to laugh or cry when Su Yan displayed his divine might on the battle stage in the indestructible body state. Xian Kuei let out a long howl. He was truly angered. The blood in his body swelled, and a vague supreme heavenly might was emitted. It was as if a supreme being who looked down on millions of creatures had been born. It was terrifying and overflowing. It cut apart all of Su Yan's attacks. Su Yan was astonished. At this moment, no matter how his divine power overflowed, Xian Kuei seemed to be invulnerable and isolated his power. What kind of secret technique is this? Everyone was shocked. They were so far away, but they felt terrified. At this moment, Xian Kuei was too divine and majestic. He was invulnerable and invulnerable. Supreme Being Bloodline. Someone spoke. This was an almost invincible bloodline. Coupled with the resurrection of the immortal body technique, it blocked Su Yan's fist power. Xian Kuei's divine might was awe-inspiring, and he carried an imposing aura that could swallow the universe. He cast a sidelong glance at Su Yan and said coldly, I really didn't expect that you would be able to force me to use my trump card. I think you're going to die. Too weak. Too much yesterday. Chapter 1545. Do the people of the Xian people only know how to boast? Su Yan stood on the battle platform, his hair disheveled. He sneered and said, Xian Jun also said the same thing, but he died very miserably. Now, you want to suppress me with just your bloodline? When are you going to wake up from your dream? Ha ha! Xian Kuei was laughing, and it was very cold. In his opinion, Su Yan still did not understand the power of bloodlines. There was no need to talk about ordinary bloodlines, but he was different. The bloodline flowing in his body was the bloodline of a supreme being. In fact, Xian Kuei was the first generation of a supreme being. He was the son of the Xian people's supreme leader, so his bloodline was very powerful and abnormal. This was also one of Xian Kuei's trump cards, and it was also where his confidence to fight for the top 10 in the future lay. You're laughing very happily. Su Yan sneered. You're laughing at ignorance. Xian Kuei was very calm, confident, and elegant. His body was filled with the vague aura of a supreme being. He said coldly, in fact, your race used to have all of this. Unfortunately, you're very pitiful now. You don't even understand the concept of a supreme being's bloodline. The vague supreme being aura that flowed around Xian Kuei's body became stronger and stronger. It was to the extent that when he walked out, a terrifying influence caused the world to change. It was as if everything was being suppressed, and it was about to enter a state of nothingness. This kind of aura was especially shocking. It had an imposing storm that came from ancient times. It vaguely seemed like it was about to transform into a person who ruled the world, controlled the immortal path, spat out order, and killed all enemies. In a normal sense, this kind of person was really invincible. They suppressed millions of living beings and looked down on the world. Xian Kuei had the supreme being's aura and was very domineering. He looked down at Su Yan from above. Finally, the bloodline in his body rumbled. The vague supreme being's aura spread out, forming a supreme suppression, a suppression of the rules. It was as if they were two people from two different worlds. However, Xian Kuei, who had the Supreme Being's bloodline, could suppress Su Yin. Suppress. Xian Kuei shouted coldly. The moment he activated his Supreme Being's bloodline, it bloomed with a shocking light of order. It was as if mysterious rules of order were to sprinkle down and cover Su Yan's body. It was going to brutally crush him. In an instant, Su Yan's primordial spirit throbbed, and his body felt a piercing pain. He became more and more surprised. It was because his flesh felt like it was about to fall apart, as if he was looking at a supreme being whose words were law, pronouncing his death, even making him kneel down, unconditionally accept all of this. Su Yan's body awakened on its own. Majestic fluctuations surged out, blocking the suppression of the vague order. This won't do. Originally, I wasn't prepared to use the sovereign bloodline. I wanted to fight fair and square with them and make them admit defeat. However, since they dared to lead an army to attack the second city of the Xian people, therefore, I will make you lose miserably. Be suppressed. Xian Kuei roared angrily. His flesh shone, and blurry supreme being energy flowed out from his pores, forming a type of special and mysterious order suppression. Sure enough, Su Yin felt that he had been imprisoned. An invisible energy was affecting him, causing Su Yan's combat strength to decrease by a lot. This made Su Yin furious. What bullshit supreme being bloodline? Could it be that he was superior to others? However, just as Su Yin was about to explode and destroy the supreme being bloodline, he suddenly realized that under the influence of the supreme being bloodline, the gray bloodline in his body that had been dormant all this time suddenly shone. Su Yin was surprised. It was difficult for the gray bloodline to recover. He didn't know if it was because of the sea devil of the netherworld or other factors, but his bloodline was relatively unique. Now, under the stimulation of the supreme being bloodline, it was surging fiercely. His 9-colored blood had turned gray because of the darkness calamity. It was also because of his mysterious bloodline. He had survived the darkness calamity with great difficulty. Now, the gray blood was flowing with a mysterious color, isolating the suppression of the supreme being bloodline. The gray blood was even shining as if it was breathing. It was actually starting to absorb the supreme being bloodline's energy. What was going on? It was devouring the supreme being bloodline's mysterious influence, as if it was using this matter to strengthen itself. Could it be? Su Yin was shocked. Could it be because of the dark matter? His bloodline had the ability to devour? How could it not be affected? Xian Kuei's face finally turned gloomy. No matter how strong the suppression of the bloodline was, it was like a clay ox entering the sea. It couldn't cause any waves. What bullshit bloodline? Su Yin said disdainfully. Since you claim that your bloodline is invincible, why don't I extract your bloodline? What do you think? You don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Xian Kuei's aura surged violently. He said coldly, I understand now. It's also the supreme being bloodline. Although the bloodline is incomplete, it can still resist the influence of the supreme being bloodline. It seems like your position in the celestial court is not small. Are you the descendant of a super wanted criminal? You're full of nonsense. Kill him. Su Yin was furious. He rushed up and simply and violently stepped on Xian Kuei. How much combat power can an incomplete supreme being bloodline give? Xian Kuei was shocked and angry. He looked at Su Yin, who was descending from the sky, and the foot that was stepping on him. Xian Kuei couldn't allow anyone to step on his head. Su Yin's attitude made Xian Kuei go crazy, and he erupted with his strongest combat power. Xian Kuei, who had fused his immortal body technique with the supreme being bloodline, was really powerful. He raised his fist and punched at Su Yin. However, Su Yin, who was descending from the sky, had an even more terrifying aura. In the end, his body surged with tens of thousands of dazzling sword rays. Under the state of the sword technique, his body was like an ancient sword embryo that was awakening, and he erupted with a heavenly attack. The terrifying sword rays leaked out and trampled on Xian Kuei's fist, which was swung up until it was a bloody mess. Even the bones could be seen. Kill! Xian Kuei roared and erupted with an even more ferocious punch. The light was 1,000,000 feet long. This was the immortal light's inextinguishable light. His body whizzed out a vast expanse of light. The void trembled like a piece of paper, and then there was a huge explosion. The sky was filled with destructive immortal light, and it surged out, drowning the entire battle platform. The moment the divine power boiled, it was as if it was going to tear the entire Emperor Road battle platform apart. Su Yan was like an immortal demon in the sky. He raised his palm and slowly pressed it down. It seemed normal, but in fact, this attack was earth-shattering. The sword rays were like a river of stars, and the sharpness was like an immortal blade. They surged to the extreme and suppressed the immortal light that filled the sky. Boom! There was a huge explosion of energy in this area. The two shocking mystical abilities were fighting. Both of them were supreme killing techniques that evolved from the foundation of the physical body. At the moment of impact, turbulent waves surged and surged, tearing the sky apart. Is this the peak combat power of the younger generation? The big shots who were watching the battle from the outside were shocked. This was only a battle of the void immortal realm. It was not at the true immortal realm at all. However, the magic power of the two was too extraordinary. Even the mystical abilities they evolved were shocking. Then, everyone was shocked. The battle was becoming more and more brutal. The two great experts fought together. They both stood at the peak and were the strongest. They used their mystical abilities and fought together. Boom! The entire Emperor Road battle platform shook as if it was extremely difficult to bear their battle. This was a shocking collision between terrifying physical bodies, supreme secret techniques, and super powerful magic power. They fought for hundreds of rounds, and the starry sky dimmed, and the sun and moon lost their light. There was also blood that sputtered continuously, dyeing the shattered world red. Su Yan's punches drew blood. He fought until he was crazy. He released his most powerful strength and kept fighting with Xian Kuei. It had to be said that Xian Kuei was extremely strong. He, who had fused with the bloodline of a supreme being, had extraordinary battle prowess. However, how valiant was Su Yan? His moves were bold and powerful, filled with a domineering aura. His whole body also flowed with an invincible aura. His aura swallowed the whole region, and he looked down on everything. Kill! Xian Kuei roared. His injuries were a little serious, and his fists were cracked. However, under the suppression of the Supreme Being bloodline, this did not affect his battle prowess. Kill me? No way. Su Yan shouted coldly. Although Xian Kuei had the protection of the Supreme Being bloodline, it was still extremely difficult for him to resist the shocking power of his fists. There was a terrifying power that seeped into his body and cruelly suppressed his physical body. No way. The more you suppress me, the stronger the eruption of the Supreme Being bloodline will be. Xian Kuei roared. His blood-stained body became more and more brilliant. There was even a huge phantom behind him. It was as if a supreme being had descended into the lower realm and was bestowed with supreme battle prowess. Heaven and earth trembled, and the sun and moon wailed. Even the heavens were crushed. Terrifying battle prowess poured out, making Xian Kuei look like a supreme war god. He roared, "Send me to hell." One could imagine how terrifying the Supreme Being bloodline was in its strongest state. A peerless attack was enough to destroy everything. It tore apart Su Yan's body, and the supreme laws were enough to destroy his soul. It's this moment. Su Yan's eyes widened. He rushed up in an instant and met the terrifying attack head-on. He's crazy. Many people roared. Had the young demon king gone crazy? This was the most powerful attack of the Supreme Being bloodline. Who could match it? No matter how strong one was, they had to be careful. It was inevitable that they would be killed by the Supreme Being's vague laws. What is Big Brother doing? Even Fan Jian was stunned. How could Su Yan not be able to resist the Supreme Being's attack? Just based on the series of great divine abilities he had grasped, If he really used all of them, Xian Kuei's face would most likely turn green. But now he had rushed into the vague Supreme Being's laws, and his whole person seemed to be about to be destroyed. Heavens! The next moment, the whole world trembled. The whole Xian people's third major region was filled with a loud rumble. What did they see? The moment Su Yin rushed down, he tore apart the Supreme Being bloodline's strongest attack. Moreover, his gray bloodline revived and swallowed the Supreme Being bloodline's energy essence that leaked out from Xian Kuei's body. At this moment, the gray bloodline rumbled and surged with a colorful luster. It was as if it was going to break out of its cocoon and revive. Impossible! Xian Kuei's eyes widened in anger. How could he break through the Supreme Being bloodline's attack? But it was too late. Su Yin charged in front of him and let out a loud roar, causing Xian Kuei's body to tremble. Ah! He screamed and let out a painful growl. Immediately after, Xian Kuei's eyes were about to pop out of their sockets because his entire arm had been torn off by Su Yin. Then his entire body was stepped on by Su Yin, covered in blood, and his chest was torn into pieces. Su Yin held a blood-stained arm and said coldly, "Your bloodline is extraordinary. I'm worried that you'll use up all of your bloodline's power if you erupt too fiercely." Xian Kuei's face was ashen. He had not lost yet, but Su Yan's words had dealt him a heavy blow. He had actually destroyed the bloodline power that he was so proud of. He was even worried that he would erupt too fiercely. This was simply too crazy. "What are you screaming for?" Su Yin said angrily. "Get up and fight with me." Su Yan's goal was to become the Xian people's #1 supreme being. He had to force out all of Xian Kuei's trump cards before he could defeat his future mortal enemy. I'll continue to update today. Brothers, please vote. Chapter 1546. It was a ghastly sight to behold. On the Emperor Road's battle platform, Su Yin stepped on the Xian people's second supreme being. Such a bloody scene had stunned everyone. Xian Kuei. The Xian people went crazy. Xian Tyran growled. "This doesn't make sense. Why has the supreme bloodline lost its effect? Why?" Everyone knew how terrifying this bloodline was. Why had it been suppressed so easily? Moreover, they did not see Su Yan's special and powerful bloodline. What was the reason? What disappointed Su Yan was that Xian Kuei's bloodline was not strong enough. The gray blood only recovered slightly before it returned to normal. "It's not an emperor bloodline, after all," he muttered. Although the supreme bloodline was extraordinary, its effect could not compare to an emperor bloodline. Of course, Su Yin was not in a hurry. His strongest bloodline would return sooner or later. The Xian people's second city was in a huge battle. The flames of war were raging. The two forces had been holding grudges for a long time. Now, a battle of life and death had broken out in the second city. This was a battle between two armies. The entire region was covered in blood. Kill! Battle cries shook the sky. The celestial race suffered heavy losses. Thousands of elite soldiers died in the collapse of the teleportation formation. However, the celestial race still had thousands of elite soldiers, while the celestial heavens only had 500 cavalrymen. However, these 500 cavalrymen had been trained by Su Yin during this period of time. Under the leadership of Do Li and the others, their combat strength had reached its peak. Kill! 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 The 500 cavalrymen's roars shook the heavens and the earth. Their footsteps were uniform. This was terrifying. They were invincible lions. No matter where they went, they could set off a bloody storm. Now, they were on a killing spree in the second city. In a short period of time, they had killed a large number of Xian people's elites. However, these people were the Xian people's elite soldiers. They quickly reacted. Large and small battered troops reformed their battle formations and clashed with the Celestial Court's army. However, on the Emperor Road's battle platform, Xian Kuei was suppressed and stepped on by Su Yin. This bloody scene greatly damaged the Xian people's morale. Kill! Fan Jian roared. His aura surged violently as he activated his sword physique technique. With a boom, he pierced through a corner of the Xian people's battle formation. He was extremely powerful and peerless. He was like a sharp blade that could slice through the battlefield. His explosive power was absolutely astonishing. Kill. More than 10 leading generals revived. They had the lofty aspiration of swallowing rivers and mountains. They had the boldness to open up the sky and open up the sea. They cut the battlefield and reaped the lives of the enemy. Li, in particular, was incomparably valiant. He roared like a vicious dragon, shattering the enemy's courage. The evil dragon aura overflowed into the heavens as he knocked down another corner of the battle formation. Yuan and the others made their moves one after another, revealing their strongest battle prowess. The sky was shaking and the earth was trembling. The thick smell of blood permeated the air. The morale of the Xian people's army was greatly reduced. The troops of the Celestial Court seized the opportunity and charged forward, cutting the Xian people's battle formation into pieces. It was a tragic scene. Rivers of blood flowed through the entire ancient city, and corpses piled up like mountains. The way of the mystic gate. The faces of the experts of the mystic heaven sect darkened. Su Yin had channeled the way of the mystic gate into the battle formation. Just how profound was his way of the mystic gate? These 500 cavalrymen appeared and disappeared like ghosts, cutting up the battlefield and dividing the area. They even used the sky-imprisoning dragon-locking formation to stabilize the situation. Did they want to devour the elite troops of the Xian people in one go? Their appetite was too big. Weren't they afraid of being stuffed to death? Of course, this was difficult, but things were different with Long Daesong. This guy was a total war monster. After stepping into the true immortal realm, Long Daesong was able to strike fear into the hearts of even sixth heaven true immortals. Because Long Daesong was wearing an immortal Dao Peak puppet, he was like a true immortal Dao dragon, sweeping through the small battlefields. They wanted to devour all the elite troops of the Xian people in the second city in one go. Ha ha! Fan Jian laughed unkindly. He heard Su Yan's words and thought to himself, if you want me to stand up and fight with you, at least move your foot away from Xian Kuei's chest. Those who humiliate me will die without a burial place. Suddenly, the scene on the Emperor Road's battle platform changed drastically. Xian Kuei, who was covered in wounds, roared into the sky. He looked terrifying. His forehead was shining as if he was carrying the supreme Great Path diagram on his back. The diagram flashed with a magnificent and vast image of the universe, as if he was carrying a golden age. Good. The higher-ups of the Xian people were nervous. Now that they saw Xian Kuei using his strongest combat power, they were agitated and shouted, Xian Kuei is the future supreme of the emperor ranking of our race. He's also a first-generation supreme. He's born with the supreme Great Path diagram. With such a Ingjia, how can he suppress a king of the Celestial Court? This was a secret of the Xian people. On the day of Xian Kuei's birth, because he was a first-generation supreme, he had perfectly inherited the bloodline of the Xian people supreme. He was even born with outstanding talent. He was carrying the supreme Great Path diagram on his back. Now, his hidden trump card had been unleashed. His entire forehead was blazing with a monstrous amount of divine light as it shot towards Su Yan from all directions. Boom! Su Yan's protective divine light exploded. His whole body trembled violently. His eyes widened as his long black hair danced in the wind. Oh my God, what is that? Supreme Great Path diagram. That's the Supreme Great Path diagram. It's the Supreme Great Path secret technique that Yu Sheng possesses. It's the foundation that makes him invincible among his peers. The whole world was in an uproar. Some of the big shots were shocked. They didn't expect Xian Kuei to have hidden it so deeply. The Supreme Great Path diagram was a supreme trump card. Now, it was fully activated. His forehead surged with billions of rays of light that illuminated the universe. You're finished. You forced me to use my trump card. At the moment when the Supreme Great Path diagram filled the sky, Xian Kuei rushed out. His whole body merged with the Great Path diagram. It was as if a painting of a golden age was unfolded. Billions of rays of Supreme Great Path diagram gushed out and evolved into the real universe. Boom! The Emperor Road Battle platform shook violently. The Supreme Great Path diagram was grand and ancient. The great stars in the sky were arranged, and the sun, moon, rivers, and mountains appeared, enveloping Su Yin. As the world shook, endless killing intent crushed towards Su Yin. It had to be said that it was quite frightening. The Supreme Great Path diagram enveloped the world of heaven and earth. There was no place for Su Yin to stand. Suddenly, he seemed to have encountered the suppression of the entire flourishing age. Boundless light of slaughter rolled down and drowned Su Yin, bombarding him to the point his body trembled violently. Blood sprayed out from his pores, and his body was simply on the verge of exploding. Oh my God, is the young Demon King going to die? Ha! The son of a Supreme Great Path diagram is indeed the son of a Supreme Great Path diagram. His methods are too profound. I want to see how the young Demon King is going to match him. A big shot from the wondrous sky sect sneered. He wanted to see Su Yan's corpse as soon as possible. Young Demon King, you're finished. Give me your life. Xian Kuei roared and pushed the Supreme Great Path diagram's power. The scene was magnificent, and it was as if he was pushing the heavens of the universe. He wanted to shake Su Yin to death. Even a lousy diagram can give you so much courage. Su Yin was furious. His aura was violent. He stood tall in the world of the heavenly Tao diagram. His majestic appearance was awe-inspiring. His messy hair fluttered, and his body was full of bloody light. However, he was full of an indestructible, ferocious might. Boom! Su Yan's body surged with surging bloody light. Boundless tribulations filled the sky and dyed the Supreme Great Path diagram red. The scene looked a little ridiculous. Not good. What kind of secret technique is this? It can intercept the power of my Supreme Great Path diagram. Could it be some kind of history's strongest divine ability? Xian Kuei's expression changed. What kind of divine ability was this? It invaded his Supreme Great Path diagram, making it extremely difficult for him to operate it. However, he was also extremely decisive. He continuously spat out blood essence and sprinkled it on the Supreme Great Path diagram, fully activating this supreme killing technique. He wanted to resist the suppression of the bloody light and kill Su Yin. I don't believe that the Supreme Great Path diagram can't kill you. In fact, Xian Kuei felt sullen. His supreme bloodline was suppressed, and now the Supreme Great Path diagram was also facing the fate of being suppressed. Tribulation Tao, Tribulation Heaven, Tribulation Earth, Tribulation Tao. Su Yan's appearance was solemn. He spat out the great Tao scripture, and the Tribulation Tao secret technique was also released. This was the source secret technique of the universe's reconstruction. The instant it was released, it invaded the Supreme Great Path diagram. Moreover, Su Yan's entire person was completely different. It was as if he was branded within the universe. He grasped the heavens of the universe, making the stars in the sky vast and mighty, the mountains, rivers, and earth rise and fall with it. Boom! He pushed the sun, moon, rivers, and mountains. He was suffused with a matchless aura that shocked the past and dazzled the present. Su Yin combined the Tribulation Tao secret technique and the power of Qi Min, robbing the energy of the Supreme Great Path diagram. In the end, with the power of Qi Min, he pushed back the power of the entire Supreme Great Path diagram. Kill! He roared and pushed the Supreme Great Path diagram towards Xian Kuei. This kind of domineering method made everyone dumbfounded. Using the enemy's Supreme Great Path diagram to target the enemy. What kind of Tao technique was this? Why did such a freakish power exist? The power that Su Yin pushed out was like a blood-colored Supreme Great Path diagram descending from the sky. It became more and more magnificent, and finally filled the entire battle platform. Puff! The supreme power attacked. Xian Kuei let out a miserable cry. His entire body was in tatters, and he was sent flying. He was about to die. He suffered serious injuries. His body was torn apart, and a bloody scar appeared on his forehead. It was as if he was about to fall apart. Immortal seal, suppress for me. Xian Kuei roared angrily. His tattered body surged with qi and blood. In the end, he activated his most powerful divine ability. His body that was about to rot quickly stabilized. It spewed out rich, immortal radiance and evolved into a peerless Dharma seal with millions of rays of immortal radiance. This was a shocking aura that spread out and rapidly strengthened. In the end, it was monstrous. The great seal soared through the sky, emitting a powerful aura. It interweaved with supreme laws, peerless and shocking. It could easily suppress and kill kings. The blood-colored world that Su Yin pushed was collapsing. A terrifying aura surged over, wanting to shatter Su Yan's flesh shell in one fell swoop. Boom! However, Su Yan's body was still burning. The majesty of an expert filled the air, turning into the three pure ones. They turned into three Su Yin and punched at the same time. 3 consecutive punches erupted. In the end, the heavens shook and the earth trembled. The starry sky was vast, and the sun and moon wailed. Kill! Su Yin roared. The 3 figures carried the belief that they were invincible. Their awe-inspiring majesty released their strongest aura at the same time. Dong, dong, dong. The 3 punches were thrown out in succession. The fist seals were shocking and rapidly enlarged. They spat out primordial light, as if they had turned into 3 Su Yin. Their divine might was overwhelming. The primordial force that was emitted from the foundation of the 3 pure ones. No one knew what was happening inside. Everything was blurry, but soon everyone saw that the magnificent seal had collapsed. It had been blasted apart by the 3 punches. No! Xian Kuei was in despair. How could such a powerful secret technique be blasted apart? The immortal seal was the Xian people's most powerful secret technique. It was ranked as the most powerful divine ability in history. However, Su Yin had mastered 2 types. When they combined and erupted, they emitted an unparalleled killing power. When Su Yin combined the 3 pure ones from the immortal seal, his aura soared into the sky. He punched out and attacked Xian Kuei. Xian Kuei panicked. He was no match for him. No matter how powerful his battle prowess was, it was extremely difficult for him to resist. He was sent flying, leaving behind a large patch of bloody light in the shattered void. It was truly a shocking sight. Xian people's immortal technique. Xian Kuei was unwilling to give up. He once again channeled the power of his bloodline to heal his shattered battle body. There was no way out. He had to continue fighting. Otherwise, he would really die here. A great battle broke out again, but Xian Kuei seemed very powerless. Each of Su Yan's punches contained shocking killing power. They made Xian Kuei bleed from his 7 orifices, and his physical body collapsed one after another. Although he had mastered the Xian people's immortal technique and also had the primordial bloodline, he could continuously reconstruct his battle body from the shattering. However, Su Yin shattered his physical body again and again. No matter how strong a person was, it would be difficult for them to recover endlessly. What other moves do you have? Try them out as soon as possible. Su Yin's body was covered in blood. It was all his enemies and his own blood. There was no doubt that Xian Kuei was powerful, but his battle prowess was still far from being enough to deal with Su Yin. Of course, the most terrible thing was that the primordial bloodline and the primordial Tao diagram were completely restrained by him. This kid is a little pitiful. He's unlucky to have met a demon king. He's really unlucky. Fan Jin sympathized with Xian Kuei. Even the primordial bloodline was restrained. After losing his 2 trump cards, the Xian people's second primordial fell silent. His expression was somewhat pained. He really couldn't defeat Su Yin. He was suppressed in every way. He was too aggrieved, not to mention that he was now facing the fate of being killed by Su Yin. Have you really lost? All of a sudden, a blurry shadow appeared in Xian Kuei's forehead. Although he couldn't see it clearly, the kind of presence made it seem as if the entire world was beneath his feet. Su Yan's eyes widened as he stared at Xian Kuei's forehead. He saw a ball of soul fire. Although it was very weak, It was as if a primordial that could suppress the universe was awakening. This weak ball of soul light even intertwined with the primordial Tao diagram imprinted on Xian Kuei's forehead. Xian Kuei's expression was ashamed as he said, I lost. No, it's just that some abilities restrained you. The light of the Xian people's primordial spirit became even brighter, as if it was about to descend onto the Emperor Road's battle stage. He said coldly, This is good too. I've taught you enough lessons. I've been defeated repeatedly before, but I climbed up again and finally became a primordial Tao diagram. Father, I'll learn from my lesson and walk my own path. I'll become the strongest on the Emperor rankings. Xian Kuei roared. Next, I'll take control of your body. The Xian people's primordial spirit nodded. His tone was cold as he said, Watch carefully. I'll use your body to fight and suppress him. Father, Xian Kuei shouted. His eyes were red. Who was his father? Although he was using his own body to fight, he was lowering his status. This was a disgrace to the Xian people's primordial spirit. I'll lock him in the prison. As long as you don't defeat him, you won't be able to go out, even if the Emperor rankings contest ends. The Xian people's primordial spirit's words were cold. This showed how important Xian Kuei was to him. Brothers, this is a big chapter. Chapter 1547. In fact, no matter how powerful the Xian people's sect master was, it was impossible for him to sneak into the 10,000 tribe battlefield. After all, this was a place where the younger generation fought for supremacy. If the older generation could enter, who would dare to come to the 10,000 tribe battlefield? However, Xian Kuei was his son after all. He had also inherited the sect master's supreme Tao diagram. Because of this supreme Tao diagram, Xian Kuei was able to plant a soul light in his sea of consciousness, preventing him from being caught by the rules of the Emperor Road battle stage. Of course, this soul light did not have any combat power. However, if it really controlled Xian Kuei's body, the consequences would be unimaginable. After all, he was a supreme Tao diagram. He had lived for too long. What kind of calamities had he not experienced? What kind of enemies had he not fought? Now, the soul light in the supreme Tao diagram controlled Xian Kuei's broken body. Boom! In an instant, his flesh and blood glowed and was extremely close to being transparent. His flesh and bones, which had been crippled by Su Yin, were quickly wrapped up by the rich bloodline of the supreme Tao diagram. They even began to reassemble at an extremely fast speed. Almost in a flash, Xian Kuei's declining aura recovered to its peak state. His messy hair danced in the wind, and his eyes were as frightening as knives. It was obvious that he was completely different. It was as if he had become a different person. His demonic body was shocking, and his murderous aura was overflowing. It tore through the void and exploded. On the Emperor Road battle stage, he looked majestic and shocking. What's going on? In the Xian people's second city, Yuan and the others' expressions changed. They looked at the Emperor Road battle stage in shock. At this moment, Xian Kuei was a little different. His essence, qi, and spirit had completely changed. It was as if he had become a different person. No one knew that the supreme Tao diagram of the Xian people's sect master had controlled Xian Kuei's body. It promoted his aura and gave him a dreamy and mythical aura. Come! He waved at Su Yin and looked down at Su Yin with a pair of emotionless eyes. Su Yin did not say anything and remained calm. He stood in the void. Although he lacked some kind of boldness compared to the current Xian Kuei, his figure was exceptionally tall and eye-catching. He was full of invincibility. This old thing is very strong. His realm is too frightening. I can't be careless in this battle. Su Yan's eyes shone with sword light as he stared at Xian Kuei. He could already feel a terrifying pressure. This was a great enemy. It was hard to imagine how strong he would be. However, Su Yan wasn't afraid. His blood was boiling. He was looking forward to this battle and longed to experience it. Young Devil King, you're finished. Xian Kuei spoke. As the saying goes, every dog has its day. Now, it was his turn to be unlucky. Under the situation where the supreme soul light controlled his physical body, it was enough to turn Xian Kuei into a heavy, killing weapon. Who could rival it? Boom! All of a sudden, the area where Su Yan was had exploded in an instant. The scene was terrifying. It was as if the heavens were falling and the earth was splitting apart. Formless ripples rushed toward Su Yan. This was the embodiment of Tao and magic, and similarly, it concealed an exceptional murderous force. It could easily slaughter experts. For someone like a supreme being, a single thought was enough to exterminate millions of lives. It was difficult to describe just how terrifying it was. Boom! Su Yan's feet instantly stomped on the ground. His clothes fluttered in the wind. The moment the chi and blood in his body surged, he tore apart the formless killing move. His cold eyes looked at Xian Kuei. In a battle between experts, victory and defeat would be decided in an instant. Su Yan didn't dare to be careless. His spiritual energy was on high alert. His entire body was like a killing sword spitting out its edge. Not bad. You have some skills. Xian Kuei, this is also one of the reasons why you lost. Your reaction speed isn't as fast as his. The Supreme Being was commenting. Su Yan's reaction speed was very fast. His combat experience was quite rich. He guessed that this should be a shocking genius nurtured by the Celestial Court. He had experienced many kinds of tempering and had the foundation to dominate the world. Unfortunately, he had encountered him. He was destined to be a tragedy. At this moment, Xian Kuei moved. His body was like a divine spear that could collapse the sky. He attacked with lightning speed. This attack was too fast. Like a bolt of lightning, it tore through the void and arrived in front of Su Yan. At the same time, he used his trump card. What's that? Fan Jian felt a headache coming on. Even though the Emperor Road battle platform was suspended in the starry sky and was relatively far away from him, he still managed to capture Xian Kuei's strength, freakishness, and the shocking ultimate skill that was released. Under the shocked gazes of the people, they saw Xian Kuei transform into a three-headed, six-armed god-fiend the moment he charged toward Su Yan. This is a secret technique that only true immortals are qualified to master. How can Xian Kuei know it? Many people turned pale. 3 heads, 6 arms was a supreme saint technique for close combat. It could also be understood as a form of combat. However, only true immortals were qualified to use it. No one had expected Xian Kuei to be so amazing that he could use this great supernatural power. Boom! The world exploded, and the sun and moon lost their light. The majestic 3-headed, 6-armed figure held a great killing weapon in each of its 6 arms. There was a black spear, a bright butcher's knife, a halberd, and a silver divine spear. Body-breaking art. Be careful, big brother. Dali's expression changed. He had once seen this kind of ultimate skill in the records of the power sect. It was a killing saint technique that specialized in breaking the physical body. Once it came, it could even break a supreme treasure body. The 6 killing weapons carried a terrifying demonic nature and an aura that could annihilate immortals. They descended from the sky and blasted towards Su Yan. This was a killing move. It was too sharp and peerless. There was no room for tricks. The only way was to fight to the death. Buzz. Su Yan's body glowed and spewed out infinite light. This was the infinite secret technique in action. Su Yan's pores spewed out thousands of layers of divine light, which turned into a huge golden bell that enveloped Su Yan's body. Dong, dong, dong. The huge golden bell shook and was about to explode upon contact. Su Yan let out a low roar and unleashed the infinite secret technique. The huge golden bell expanded rapidly and was about to envelop the entire Emperor Road battle platform and block Xian Kuei's ultimate move. It's useless. The Xian people's sect master sneered. He controlled Xian Kuei's body. Under the 3-headed, 6-armed state, the 6 arms instantly brandished the body-breaking art weapons while the 3 heads roared with rolling sound waves. It was a shocking scene. The huge golden bell trembled and distorted. In the end, the 6 body-breaking art weapons pierced through the huge golden bell. Their peerless sharpness pierced toward Su Yan's body. Su Yan's eyes blazed and shone brilliantly. His aura swallowed the starry sky, and his aura suddenly changed. It was as if he was in an ocean of killing swords. His sword body technique erupted, carrying Su Yan's strongest essence, chi, and spirit as it clashed with the 6 murderous weapons. Boom! The entire area exploded, and energy ripples shot into the sky. There was also blood sputtering. In the blurry scene, some great figures saw through the space-time wormhole that Su Yan's body seemed to have been pierced through by the weapons. Is this Xian Kuei's strongest battle prowess? It's as if he's a different person. Unbelievable. The people were terrified. Xian Kuei's attitude had refreshed their understanding of the Xian people's second paragon. His battle prowess was too ferocious. His cultivation wasn't as good as the young Devil King's, but he could still make up for his flaws with his supreme killing technique. Su Yan let out a muffled groan, and his footsteps staggered. There were 6 bloody scars on his body, and his bones could be seen. The body-breaking art had almost pierced through his body. Slash! Xian Kuei attacked again, not giving Su Yan any time to catch his breath. His demonic body was terrifying. It was as if a dark heavenly blade had been unsealed. A dark sharpness radiated from his palm, and he forcefully slashed down on the entire sky. What kind of secret technique is this? The great figures in the outside world were shocked. Could it be that Xian Kuei had obtained some kind of inheritance? Someone stepped forward and explained, "This is the Xian people's dark heavenly blade seal. It said that it's extremely difficult to master and cultivate. However, once it's cultivated, one's body can transform into a dark heavenly blade that can slash through all enemies." I didn't expect Xian Kuei to be so outstanding to be able to use this remarkable ability to such an extent. It's truly inconceivable. Boom! The ultimate technique descended from the sky. It contained a terrifying great Tao light, and it cut through everything as it slashed towards Su Yan's body. Roar! Su Yan let out a long howl. He raised his fist and punched forward. In the process, his entire body surged with divine light. He activated his sword body technique and charged towards Xian Kuei. It was as if 2 great stars had collided. The scene was too horrible to look at. Su Yan's blade was destroyed. The terrifying blade radiance dominated the sky, destroying everything. It caused Su Yan's fist to split into pieces. It was truly on the verge of collapsing. Blood spilled from his fist, and the intense pain was unbearable. Su Yan had suffered a great loss. Although his sword body technique was powerful, and he could do whatever he wanted in his generation, he was facing the Xian Kuei. But now, the enemy he encountered was the Immortal Clan's sect leader. With his understanding of magical powers, even 10 Su Yans added together would not be enough. This was an unfair battle, but it also stimulated Su Yan's ferocity. He did not believe that his opponent could continue to suppress him. Do you see that? Even if his body is strong, it's enough to break through. The Xian people's sect master said coldly, "We, the Xian people, have been strong since ancient times. We have countless inheritances and remarkable abilities in our treasury. All these years, you've been relying on the supreme Tao diagram and the supreme bloodline, and your cultivation has been slow. Otherwise, with your potential and foundation, would it be difficult to kill him? If it weren't for your weak body, I'd be able to kill him with just a few combined attacks." Su Yan spat out a mouthful of blood. He did not speak. Take a good look at how I'm going to completely destroy his physical body and break all his bones. Xian Kuei attacked again. His mouth and nose spewed out a vast stream of light, which evolved into the order of scriptures. It contained the power to obliterate all living things. It was a difficult battle. A battle between an immortal and a supreme being was like a fantasy story. These people had too much experience. They could easily see Su Yan's weakness and destroy it with a heavy blow. "Kill!" Su Yan roared. He erupted with his strongest power to resist. He couldn't admit defeat. Similarly, Su Yan also wanted to use the combat experience of the Xian people's sect master to temper himself. He might be able to force out his potential. "Come on!" Su Yan's body flowed with Yamcha's aura, and he charged towards Xian Kuei. At this moment, the world changed color. It was dark red. It was as if purgatory had been born. It was truly contending with the fighting will of the Xian people's sect master. In an instant, Su Yin knew how strong he was. The whole world had changed. Just as supreme fighting will alone could crush the souls of the kings. Su Yin felt as if he had entered purgatory and barged into the world of millions of gods and devils. He encountered terrifying attacks and the destruction of his life. In this difficult and bloody battle, Su Yin felt that he was going to be smashed to pieces. Even an ordinary palm strike from the Xian people's sect master carried an unparalleled killing order. It was powerful beyond compare. This is the order, this is the scripture, my great Tao, my path of fighting, Su Yin murmured. He almost disintegrated several times. In the end, he survived by relying on the heaven patching technique. He rebuilt his body and once again engaged in a bloody battle with the Xian people's sect master. The stronger the pressure, the more stimulating Su Yan's fighting will soared. In this predicament, he pondered about his own path. He should have another fighting form that could gather all his advantages to deal with a strong enemy. Boom! Su Yan was sent flying again. His body was in tatters. It was also the body-breaking technique. It almost destroyed the foundation of Su Yan's body. It broke his meridians and made it difficult for him to gather them together in a short period of time. He had an epiphany. His body was like the universe. He thought of the incomplete Xianwang universe. It was incomplete and difficult to integrate the power of the entire universe. He thought of the evolution chapter of the Xianwang universe. This was the strongest evolution chapter of the level of life. It involved the universe, the space and time of the heavenly domain, and immortal matter, Buzz. Su Yan's body shone. The moment the scripture was activated, the entire flesh shell seemed to have come to life and turned into a golden battle immortal. It was quite shocking. Damn, he must have cheated and violated the rules. Is this really Xian Kuei? Fan Jian roared. Even with Su Yan's fighting experience, he was suppressed continuously. After hundreds of rounds, he was riddled with scars. He had encountered too many life and death dangers. Although he had survived, how long could Su Yan last if he continued to kill like this? This is a great turnaround. I didn't expect Xian Kuei to be so powerful. Everyone was shocked and fearful of Xian Kuei's fighting strength. Hundreds of Xian Kuei converged. Su Yan was beaten beyond recognition. Xian Kuei carried a terrifying pressure of the great Tao and attacked Su Yan one after another. Although they had exchanged over 100 blows today, to Su Yan, it was as if he had experienced 1 year after another. Torture, endless torture. Every strike carried the suppression of the great Tao and the crushing of the mind. It was very cruel. If it was anyone else, they would have been unable to withstand it long ago. In the endless purgatory, Su Yan's eyes were empty. There was killing order everywhere. There were supreme secret techniques everywhere. They were even about to merge together and completely shatter his body and mind. Father, he can't hold on much longer. It's already beyond my expectations that he can hold on until now. He didn't despair. His mind is very strong. It's a pity that he was born in the wrong race. Xian people commented. Then he attacked. His palm was pitch black and the butcher's knife appeared. This attack was very powerful. The scene of corpses lying for thousands of miles appeared. It was a vision of immortals withering. It was as if thousands of true immortals pounced at the same time, wanting to tear apart Su Yan's spiritual world. Time seemed to have returned to the Hell's Palace, to the era of bloodshed. His blood was boiling and his scriptures were being recited. Time seemed to have returned to prehistory. He saw a magnificent figure that represented invincibility. His flesh and blood resonated. The fruit of Tao that he had harvested along the path of the celestial emperor erupted and covered Su Yan's body. It stimulated his fighting body to become grand and peerless. It was as if he had become one with the world, triggering the resonance of the great Tao. Boom! In an instant, Su Yan waved his fist. His entire person seemed a little different. His body resonated, and his fist was blazing. In an instant, he was grand and peerless, as if he was suppressing the entire sky. Kill! Su Yan roared. His body resonated, and even his fist was blazing endlessly. It was boundless and seemed to carry the universe. It was violent and shocking. The vision that filled the sky shattered and pierced through the purgatory. Similarly, this was the belief of invincibility. It was enough to shatter everything. The fist was invincible. Even Xian Kuei's body trembled violently and was sent flying like a kite with a broken string. A trace of shock flashed in his eyes. Just as he was about to stabilize his fighting body, Su Yin charged over once again. His fist was as grand as the sky and extremely fast. It also possessed great majesty and boldness. It was as if he wanted to kill his way out of the eternal golden age. Punch after punch. It was very shocking. Every punch left a bloody hole on Xian Kuei's body. What kind of technique is this? He was furious. It was a very domineering fist technique. It was as grand as the sky and difficult to break. It could only be resisted with brute force. However, Xian Kuei's body wasn't strong enough. A technique that I created, Su Yin replied. This was the primordial universe fist. It was sublimating and expanding. It was beating up Xian Kuei and the Xian People Supreme Leader. A large chapter, Chapter 1548. Su Yin's fist seal was unparalleled. It was as if it was breathing with life and the flourishing of the heavens. When the fist aura was released, it resonated with Su Yan's body. During the process, his blood and bones glowed as if they were tempering a complete primitive world. Vaguely, a terrifying light of order was released. How did he? Xian Kuei trembled. Xian Kuei trembled. He felt that Su Yan's entire person was different, and he was like a war immortal that had been born from the universe. Every time he raised his hand, he would release supreme combat strength. His fist was like the sky, and it was extremely terrifying. Xian Kuei had a ridiculous thought. The Xian People's Supreme Being was giving Xian Kuei pointers. At the same time, it was like giving Su Yin pointers. The Supreme Being's pointers were no small matter. Su Yin was treated as a punching bag and was being crushed by the Xian People's Supreme Beings. At the same time, Su Yan's most terrifying potential was stimulated. Ancient and majestic sutra chanting could be heard from his body. He had met Dao Shui before. She said that she had never read the most primitive sutra. Her understanding of the beginning sutra was limited, and it would be difficult for her to form a sutra order in the future. Now, after being crushed by the Xian People's Supreme Beings, Su Yin realized his own shortcomings. He also took the opportunity to unlock the Tao fruit that he had obtained along the path of the Celestial Arch. This allowed Su Yan's understanding of the beginning sutra to reach a higher level. But at the same time, his universe fist was also perfected and nourished. It became astonishing. Kill! Su Yan roared. His fist seal was unparalleled. He raised his fist and attacked. Heaven and earth rumbled. The sun and moon trembled. The galaxy was vast and mighty. It was as if a world was pressing down. This fist was majestic and unimaginable. It formed a terrifying sutra order. It formed a supreme technique. With every move, heaven and earth trembled. Xian Kuei's body trembled. He was beaten until he was bleeding all over. The terrifying fist seal was about to penetrate his flesh shell. Even his back was bulging. Punch after punch, each of his punches drawing blood. I'll return it all to you. He roared angrily. The corner of the universe was boiling. His invincible fist aura exploded continuously, leaving dozens of fist marks on Xian Kuei's body. Blood was already flowing down his back. Crack! The bones in his body were all broken, and his injuries were quite serious. His internal organs were on the verge of rupturing. With such serious injuries, even if he had the art of resurrection, it would be impossible for him to recover in a short time. Good kill, good kill. The army of the Celestial Court, who had been in low spirits, suddenly roared angrily. Their killing became even more ferocious. Together with Su Yan's outburst, they seemed to have gained several times more energy. In an instant, the Xian people's third city exploded. The sky was filled with corpses, minced flesh, and blood. The army of the god of death looked down on everything in disdain as they swept through the world's elite troops. They were completely unstoppable as they sunk everything. This freak has encountered a powerful enemy, and the more he fights, the stronger he becomes. Fan Jian was alarmed. In the end, he saw Su Yan's most powerful attack. His entire body shone with resplendent radiance, as if the universe itself was breathing. Terrifying sutra-chanting sounds were emitted, and the scene was endless. It was as if an emperor had descended into the world. Bam! This punch was shocking. No matter how strong the Xian people's sect master was, he was still in control of Xian Kuei's body. After suffering heavy injuries, it was difficult for him to gather his combat strength in a short time. Even if he could reverse his combat strength and evolve various superpowers, he couldn't withstand Su Yan's suppressive force at all. This punch caused his body to fly out. His body trembled violently, and his broken bones and internal organs spurted out from his pores. The scene was too tragic. He was beaten beyond recognition. Xian Kuei, countless spectators were dumbfounded. The major figures of the various immortal sects' orthodoxies were alarmed. What exactly had he experienced that made the young Devil King seem like a completely different person? His every move was filled with the aura of a grandmaster. He was like a peerless expert as he beat Xian Kuei up. After dozens of consecutive attacks, Xian Kuei couldn't even get up. "Old man, do you admit defeat?" Su Yan looked at Xian Kuei coldly. He looked at the figure in the Supreme Tao diagram and said coldly, "I'm very strong. I'm much stronger than Xian Jun. However, I really have to thank you." "How do you want me to thank you?" "Don't be so smug. If it weren't for my weak body, I wouldn't have lost to you." Xian Kuei roared furiously. However, the Xian people's sect master was very cold. He said coldly, "Young man, don't be so full of yourself. The battle isn't over yet. How can you be so sure that you've won? You said before that you've been defeated before. However, you've gotten up again and again." Su Yan sneered and said, "I'll give you a chance to get up. Stand up and continue fighting with me." "Young man, you talk big. Are you really not afraid of dying prematurely?" The Xian people's sect master was a little angry. Although it was only soul light, when it surged, it contained supreme, heavenly might. It filled the entire Emperor Road's battle platform. "Ha ha!" Su Yan looked up to the sky and laughed. "Don't worry. I've already died once. Death is nothing to me." He stared at the Xian people's sect master and said, "But if I can't even kill you, how can I get rid of the Xian people's ancestors? Don't you think so? You're really arrogant." The Xian people's sect master roared. He was furious. His soul light surged and filled the air with fluctuations that made people's hearts tremble. In an instant, the void where he was exploded. Xian Kuei's body didn't get up. However, his forehead was so dazzling that it could shatter the sky. This was the burning of his sect master's divine glory, which tore the heavens apart. Boom! It was as if the heavens were sending down divine punishment. The terrifying soul light was burning, and even Xian Kuei's primordial spirit was resurrected. The starry sky of the universe was covered in blood-red light. Fluctuations that made people's hearts tremble were released. They swept across the entire region, and it was as if the galaxy was collapsing. All living beings were terrified. The great battle in the third city stopped. Countless living beings were horrified. Their bodies felt as if they were in purgatory, and death was judging them. What's that? The heavens and earth were in an uproar. The great figures who were watching the battle from the outside were also shocked. They saw a law appear in the world covered in blood-red light. It was like a supreme Tao mark, and it emitted an aura that could slaughter billions of living beings. Not good. Fan Jian turned pale with fright. He was close enough to recognize what it was. He cried out involuntarily, King cheating. He's not Xian Kuei. He's the Xian people's sect master." "What? The Xian people's sect master?" Yin Jun was furious. This was too much of a bully. The Xian people had been defeated, and the sect master was coming. Bloody slaughter. In the outside world, some big shots said coldly, "What a sect master? The Xian people are regressing." If this was in prehistoric times, it would probably lead to the extinction of their entire race. The Celestial Court won't let him off. Bloody slaughter, it's bloody slaughter. Many people were shocked. This was the Cien people's sect master's supreme secret technique. It was said that after he stepped into the supreme realm, a great fortune descended from the heavens, and he comprehended a world-shocking divine ability, bloody slaughter. This was his special innate secret technique, also known as the supreme secret technique. Moreover, it was a supreme primordial spirit killing technique. Cien Kui definitely couldn't have grasped it. Then, there was only one possibility. Cien Kui, who suddenly became strong, was the Cien people's sect master. He was controlling his body in battle. Some people sneered. The Cien people's sect master had been beaten up by the young Devil King. Even if the young Devil King really had a grudge, this stain was enough for the world to laugh at. A dignified sect master was beaten up by a young man. Now, he had no choice but to use the bloody slaughter secret technique. One had to admit that it was ridiculous. That's not what's ridiculous. An old antique shook his head and sneered. What's ridiculous is that under the suppression of the Cien people's sect master, the young Devil King was reforged. It's even more shocking, isn't it? You all saw the transformation of his battle prowess. These words caused the hearts of the surrounding people to tremble. Indeed, the young Devil King's battle prowess was even stronger. On the first floor, the descent of the Cien people's sect master could be considered to have helped Su Yin. How strong is this secret technique? Yuan's expression was ice cold. From what he knew, Su Yin had been killing all his life. How could he be suppressed by Cien Kui, who was weaker than him? So it was because of the Cien people's sect master. Fan Jian wasn't clear, but Yin Jun told him a secret. Once, the Cien people's sect master relied on this secret technique and the Cien people's immortal vast habitat to heavily injure the Flame Emperor. This is bad. De Li and the others' expressions were unsightly. Now, the bloody slaughter had arrived. A terrifying streak of bloody light like an ocean. Tragic abnormal phenomena appeared one after another. Billions of creatures seemed to be trembling under the bloody slaughter. Then, they all exploded and were destroyed. This was a secret technique that shocked the heavens and earth. It was a supreme secret technique. Once it exploded, it surged with endless blade light that descended from the sky and slashed towards Su Yan's body. From this moment onwards, Su Yan's body was already imprisoned. The bloody light rushed towards a sea of consciousness, causing his body to tremble violently. His eyes turned black and blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. He felt that his primordial spirit was about to explode. If his primordial spirit wasn't so powerful, he would definitely die. Su Yan roared in anger. Terrifying soul light flowed out from his forehead, causing the world to be filled with golden light. What a young Devil King. His primordial spirit is actually so powerful. Even though they were separated by the path to heaven, the big shots in the outside world could still grasp the strength of Su Yan's primordial spirit. After all, the primordial spirit that had merged with a part of the white mist was emitting golden light that filled the sky. The people of Sky Bamboo had ugly expressions. He had eaten the seven-colored origin immortal fruit. It would be strange if his primordial spirit wasn't powerful. Now, Su Yan's primordial spirit was very close to the peak of the true immortal realm. I don't care how powerful your primordial spirit is. You won't live. The blade finally came down. The bloody light tore through the golden light and struck Su Yan's soul body. It caused Su Yan's primordial spirit to collapse. It was really going to explode. Roar! Su Yan let out a heart-wrenching roar. It was too painful. He endured it and channeled the Sutra of Future in this desperate situation. His primordial spirit, which was about to explode, turned into a Buddhist Vajra with glaring eyes. He was 6 feet tall and was extremely dazzling. Block! Su Yan's primordial spirit resisted the terrifying blade. However, his soul body quickly dimmed. A crack appeared on it and almost caused his soul body to collapse. Su Yan's remnant soul roared. He carried the bloody slaughter blade on his shoulder and quickly communicated with his body. I don't care if you submit or not. I'll crush you with a punch. Su Yan's body surged with qi and blood. He charged forward and swung his fists. Punch after punch landed on Xian Kuei's head like a violent storm. Thump, thump, thump. Every punch was filled with a shocking fist aura. Punch after punch, Xian Kuei's head sank into the Emperor Road's battle platform. Thick blood gushed out, accompanied by the sound of bones cracking. It exploded between heaven and earth. It was an extremely brutal scene. Screams of agony rang out. The Xian people's sect master was shocked and furious. Why couldn't he kill him? His bloody slaughter blade seemed to have hit a divine iron and encountered a terrifying obstruction. There was a huge problem with Su Yan's primordial spirit. What was the shocking treasure hidden in it? However, he didn't have time to think about it. Su Yan's anger surged and shattered Xian Kuei's frontal bone. Finally, Su Yan's palm grabbed the Xian people's primordial spirit. Next, Su Yan did something that made everyone panic. He imprisoned the Xian people's primordial spirit in a small furnace. Then, he spat out a mouthful of fire and burned it fiercely. Old rabbit, you still want to crush me? I'll burn you to death. Su Yan cursed angrily. Although he had gained a lot from this battle and made up for many of his shortcomings and flaws, he still hated the Xian people's primordial spirit. It was not enough to vent his anger. Chapter 1549. Fan Jian was in a panic. Su Yan had imprisoned the soul light of the supreme martial artist in a small furnace and was burning it with raging flames. Who was he? The Xian people's sect master was one of the giants who could look down on the immortal heavenly domain. Now, Su Yan had imprisoned his soul light in a small furnace and was burning it with raging flames? That's just too crazy. Fan Jian broke out in cold sweat. Big Brother was indeed Big Brother. If it was him, Fan Jian felt that he wouldn't dare to do this. This was equivalent to enraging the Xian people's supreme martial artist and being targeted by a giant. In the small furnace with raging flames, a pitch-black soul light emitted a bone-chilling cold air. Gradually, the soul light flowed and turned into a figure. Even though he was in the raging flames, he didn't have any expression. He said coldly, I finally understand. That massive matter is controlled by you, but it's different from the black substance. The black substance can mend one's physical body. The substance that you control can mend your primordial spirit. His eyes were cold as he smiled. No wonder your primordial spirit is so strong that even my blood slaughter secret art couldn't kill it. So this is the reason. I finally understand. But what substance is this? I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it. Similarly, the Xian people's sect master was shocked. The black mist couldn't mend the primordial spirit, but Su Yan controlled another mist that could mend the primordial spirit. What were these two substances? What kind of secrets did they contain? Who was Su Yan? Why did he control these two supreme substances? This kid's origin was shocking. It wasn't as simple as they thought. Old thing, you sure talk a lot. Su Yan's eyes looked down at the remnant soul of the Xian people's supreme martial artist through the small furnace. He said, what can you do even if you know? What can you do to me? You still want to control Xian Kuei's physical body to kill me? What about now? Ha ha. The Xian people's supreme master laughed and said, young man, you are indeed very powerful. Your combat power is superb, and your comprehension is also very strong. However, you should not have exposed yourself too early. I would like to see how long you can live. You don't have to worry about that. Su Yan's eyes were cold as he said. In short, I will personally take back what is mine. Hee. Let's talk about it again, if you can survive. Do you really think that the son I raised is so easy to kill? The supreme leader of the Xian people was cold and heartless from beginning to end. He acknowledged Su Yan's strength, but he didn't agree that he could survive the hunt of the Xian people's young supreme masters in the future. If he had known that Su Yan had mastered this kind of substance, would he still be alive now? You really deserve to die. You even dare to insult a supreme martial artist. A shrill voice exploded with extreme resentment. Xian Kuei was still alive and hadn't died. Xian Kuei's miserable body trembled. Even his head had been smashed by Su Yan, but he was still alive, and his vitality was quite tenacious. Xian Kuei roared angrily. He had imprisoned the soul light of the supreme leader of the Xian people with a small furnace. In fact, this matter had already frightened everyone in the world. The higher-ups of the Xian people were about to explode with anger. This was a great humiliation. Their eyes were red as they roared like a wild beast. How dare you disregard the rules? What do you think the Xian people are? If this was the outside world, I would have crossed hundreds of regions to kill you. However, what was the point of saying this? The 10,000 Tribes battlefield was a place for the younger generation to compete for hegemony. At the same time, some Xian people were also shocked. How strong was the young Devil King? Even when the supreme leader of the Xian people controlled Xian Kuei's physical body, he was still defeated. How strong was this person? Xian Kuei is not completely dead yet. He is still alive. His vitality is really tenacious. Does he have any other moves? The son of the dignified sect leader had been defeated too miserably. If even the second city of the immortals was taken down, the immortals would have no face left. The young Devil King's strength has suppressed the Xian people. The Void Immortals don't dare to go up the stage. Only the number one supreme leader of the Xian people can take action. When the number one supreme leader of the Xian people was mentioned, a lot of commotion arose in the outside world. Previously, the number one supreme leader of the Xian people had frequently taken action and defeated the young supreme leaders of various races. It had to be said that he was too brilliant. It was all thanks to the prestige of the Skirich young master. He was also known as the top 3 strongest cultivators in the world. In the future, he had hopes of becoming the supreme leader of the Emperor rankings. Boom! Suddenly, rays of divine light surged out from the Emperor Road's battle platform. Waves of terrifying aura dispersed the clouds in the sky and even penetrated the path to heaven. It was as if a peerless monster had broken through the gate. He's still alive. What kind of secret technique is this? Even Yin Jun lost his composure. When he saw Xian Kuei's mangled body, it instantly became resplendent and blazing. It erupted with divine light that overflowed into the heavens, causing the entire sky to darken. It was as if a sea of darkness had descended and was about to fill the entire region. The world was pitch black. One couldn't even see their own fingers. Xian Kuei, who was about to die, roared and released all of his life essence. Even his waning supreme blood was burned. In an instant, a vast wave of energy was released and swept across all directions. Even as the heaven-punishing aura was released, it was as if it had replaced the heavens and evolved into the heavenly punishment realm. Xian Kuei roared and burned everything. He knew that he couldn't live, and there was no way he could escape from the Emperor Road's battle platform. He was very decisive. He burned everything, which was equivalent to sacrificing himself. It was as if he had opened the heaven-punishing realm. Dark order filled the sky and tore apart the starry sky, wanting to destroy the world. In the darkness, Su Yan's expression was serious. This was the heaven-punishing eye, a supreme ability of the heaven-punishing series. Once it was activated, it could kill gods and Buddhas in its way. Xian Kuei sacrificed everything. It was even more powerful than Xian Jun's strongest killer move. Boundless darkness drowned the entire battle platform. Even the majestic Emperor Road's battle platform began to tremble from the energy fluctuations. It was hard to imagine how terrifying the power of this mystique was. Go to hell! Xian Kuei let out a loud roar. He wanted to drag Su Yan down with him. He wanted him to die with him. Brother, be careful! De Li and the others shouted. Each of them was like a blood-soaked war king. They were fighting with the Xian people's elite troops. They were getting closer and closer to victory in this battle. Ever since the soul light of the Xian people's supreme leader was imprisoned in the small furnace by Su Yan, the Xian people's elite troops lost their fighting spirit and fled in all directions. However, they didn't expect that at this juncture, Xian Kuei would sacrifice himself and evolve the heaven-punishing realm. The sky was filled with supreme darkness that swept across like a vast ocean. The darkness was about to engulf the entire region. What is this? Countless people were trembling in fear. Their legs were not listening to them. What a terrifying aura. What kind of mystique is this? I've never heard of it before. The aura emitted by the Emperor Road's battle platform was too shocking. It suppressed their souls and bodies. There was even an aura that could destroy the heavens. It wanted to crush them into pieces. Rumble, rays of heaven, punishing light, surged down one after another. It was as if the world's strongest heavenly punishment was descending. Su Yan's bloodied body was trembling. It was as if he was being smashed by the dark stars in the sky. He was about to be destroyed. His expression was serious. He didn't use the immortal slaying sword. This mystique was too powerful. He didn't want to expose it. Otherwise, the world would know that he was hiding a terrifying trump card. Wong. Su Yan's body glowed. It was awakening in the darkness like a rising sun. Immediately after, his entire body was covered with primordial runes. From the outside, the sound of scripture chanting could be heard. The aura was magnificent and peerless. The primordial scripture was circulating. It seemed to have formed a scripture order. Every movement of his contained an invincible aura. It increased Su Yan's combat strength tremendously. Su Yan roared into the sky. His body seemed to have turned into a grotto heaven. It was as if the universe was shaking. It was as if he was creating a new world in the world of darkness. This was shocking. The aura emitted by his body was terrifying. His body seemed to have turned into a scripture book. Blurry energy of order flowed. It crushed the darkness and blocked the invasion of the heaven-punishing light. What a young demon king. What kind of heavenly technique is he cultivating? He has evolved the scripture order. If he steps into the true immortal realm now, he will reach the peak of the true immortal realm in a short time. Everyone knew that true immortals explored the immortal Tao. However, the prerequisite for cultivating the immortal Tao was to evolve the scripture order. This was very difficult. However, once it was fully developed, becoming a peak true immortal was not a problem at all. Even a future grand heavenly realm was very close to this kind of person. Once the scripture order was evolved, his combat strength would be exceptionally shocking and abnormal. He would be able to erupt with extraordinary combat strength with just a raise of his hand. Su Yan was like a living ancient scripture chanting. He looked solemn and dignified. He exuded the majesty of a powerhouse. The layers of the world of darkness that came pressing down were all blocked and could not invade Su Yan. At this moment, he appeared to be invulnerable. He was like a golden war immortal standing in the end of the world, glorious and flourishing. He had to admit that he had gained a lot from this battle. He really had to thank the sect leader of the Xian people. It's useless. Kill him. Xian Kuei roared and sacrificed everything. He exerted the power of the heaven-punishing light to the extreme. In the domain, there were two big cold pupils. They were faintly discernible in the darkness. They were like the eyes of the heavens. In an instant, Su Yan's body trembled. He had suffered a terrible blow. His vitality was greatly damaged. It's changing. Su Yan's aura climbed infinitely. He activated the beginning scripture. His entire body seemed to be imprinted in the world of heaven and earth. It was infinitely enlarged. Divine might that could suppress the 9 heavens and 10 earths surged out. It was quite majestic. The darkness of the heaven-punishing light was pushed away. However, it was extremely difficult to destroy. Open! Su Yan roared. He unleashed his Calamity Path secret art. His sword body technique swept across the sky. His cosmic fist exploded. Without using the immortal slaying sword, Su Yan relied on the ultimate scripture and his own knowledge to meet the attack head-on. Boom! It was as if 2 huge stars had collided. The entire Emperor Road battle platform rumbled and trembled. The loud sound was like thunder. The shockwave of the divine power alone was quite frightening. The terrifying aura was like a boiling ocean. This was a terrifying collision that had reached the peak. Oh my God! The countless onlookers were shocked. Such a terrifying, dark, celestial phenomenon had been torn apart by a figure. He was like a supreme overlord, smashing through the entire world of darkness. Roar! Suyin let out a long roar. His hair danced in the wind. His aura was peerless and terrifying. In front of him, Xian Kuei was badly mutilated. Half of his body had been blown up. His remaining body was trembling. If it weren't for the heaven-punishing light shrouding his physical body, he would have been destroyed in a single blow. "I can't accept this," Xian Kuei roared. "There are no living souls under the heaven-punishing light. I want to fight again. I want to sacrifice the remnants of the celestial court and show the might of the Xian people." He took out a stone jar and was about to swallow the super-precious liquid. He activated the heaven-punishing light again. "Bastard, this is my treasure. How dare you touch it?" Su Yin was furious. His palm was blazing. With a fierce attack, he blew up Xian Kuei's remaining body. "You're using my things against me. You're really daring." Su Yan's palm was holding Xian Kuei's remnant soul. He crushed him alive. Chapter 1550. The second paragon of the Xian people was killed. His blood splattered all over the Emperor Road battle stage. All the cultivators who saw this scene were dumbfounded. They fell into silence and could not say a word for a long time. Some forces had been looking forward to this battle for a very long time. Finally, it would decide who would live and who would die. Their hearts were filled with amazement. Even the son of a prime had been killed. If Su Yin could stand firm on the Emperor Road's battle platform and receive the supreme baptism of creation, he would be able to step into the true immortal realm. Then, the era of the young paragons of the celestial court was about to arrive. A true immortal paragon had a lot of room for growth in the future. He might even be qualified to fight for the top 100 or even the top 10. Is the celestial court going to rise? It's unbelievable. After 1,000,000 years, the race can still produce a paragon overlord. They even killed the son of a paragon. Even in the most prosperous era of the celestial court, they would still be entrusted with important responsibilities. That's right. The young Devil King is undoubtedly a young sovereign. Who would have thought that after the heavenly court lost a person called Su Yin, another young Devil King would rise in defiance of the heavens? I'm really curious about who nurtured him. Su Yin's body was covered in blood. His cold appearance was soul-stirring. He stood on the Emperor Road battle stage and looked at the sky full of bloody light. His heart was as calm as water. The second paragon of the Xian people was just the beginning. His goal was to become the first paragon of the Xian people. Since this kind of person was qualified to fight for the top 10 or even the top 3 in the future, he was naturally stronger than Xian Kuei. Now, he did not feel any glory for killing the second paragon of the Xian people. Instead, he was stricter with himself. He felt that he was not strong enough. After the battle with Xian Kuei, Su Yin realized that he was not strong enough. Although his primordial spirit was strong, it was difficult for him to unleash its full power. Therefore, he had to find a suitable primordial spirit attack art. Of course, Su Yan's gains from this battle were great as well. He was able to evolve the initiation scripture into the order of scriptures, and it greatly strengthened Su Yan's cultivation foundation. It had to be said that this was worthy of celebration and happiness. What a surprise! In a certain large region, it was unbelievably quiet. Even in the Emperor Road battle platform that was suspended in the air, no one dared to step onto it for a battle. Below the Emperor Road battle platform, a golden mirror hung in the air. It was as if a condensed sun had been ignited. Its radiance was blinding, and its steaming aura burned the void. The temperature was so high that the entire mirror seemed to contain millions of golden divine flames. The surface of the golden mirror displayed many different images. Almost all of the battles taking place on the Emperor Road's battle platforms were shown on the mirror. In the end, the other images on the mirror shattered, leaving only the bloody scene of the Xian people's second supreme martial artist. Xian Kuei has been killed. He's the son of the Xian people's sect master. Young master is friends with Xian Kuei. I didn't expect the young demon king of the celestial court to have the strength of a young paragon. He will at least be in the top 100 of the monarch ranking in the future. Near the great solar realm, several beautiful and charming women were watching the scene in the mirror and discussing. Each of them had a faint smile on their faces and a noble temperament. Each of them was a successor of a great sect or a noble daughter of an ancient family. Their backgrounds were not to be underestimated, and each of them was arrogant. Now, they were gathered together and standing beside a handsome man. They looked so obedient and charming. This was the dream of many men. There was also a woman playing the zither. Her fair fingers played a beautiful tune that tugged at one's heartstrings. She had jet black hair, a palm-sized, snow-white face, and misty eyes. She was a peerless beauty. When she saw a tall figure covered in blood above the great solar realm, she frowned slightly and exerted force with her fingers. Boom! The zither was extraordinary. With just a little force, the music it played turned into a killing light. It collapsed a mountain, sending rocks flying into the clouds. This was the sound of killing and iron spears. As the zither played, a rock could be vaguely heard. The rock spread its wings and attacked. A bone-chilling glint flashed in Wu Chili's eyes. She seemed to recall the 3 moles beside her ears. The thought of this made her flustered. However, Wu Chili did not expect that the young Devil King who had stirred up a huge storm in 9 Pinnacles Mountain would kill the Xian people's second paragon, Xian Kuei, on the Emperor Road's battle platform. Young Master. Wu Chili's eyes were filled with anger, but there was also a hint of fear. She knew that the young Devil King was not someone she could provoke. Even the entire Wu family was not qualified to provoke him. At this moment, Wu Chili looked at a noble man for help. He was rather dazzling, radiant, and radiant. Wu Chili's eyes were mesmerized, and her body went limp. Who was he? Naturally, he was the Skirich young master, the Skirich immortal physique. His dermic powers were said to be invincible, and he was the disciple of Old Man Skirich, who no one dared to provoke. It was precisely because he was a loner who controlled the Skirich bridge that all the immortal sects had to treat him with respect. The Skirich young master was wearing a silver robe. The robe was very unique, as if the water of the galaxy was flowing on it. Specks of golden light flashed on the robe, as if condensed stars were embedded on it. It was as if he was close to the Skirich young master, but with the help of the supreme battle armor, it was as if he had fallen into the sea of stars and was being suppressed by the galaxy. The great figures of the immortal sects coveted this item. This was a battle armor made of the best Daluo silver essence. It was unimaginably extravagant. Will this person become the young master's enemy when he ascends the emperor rankings in the future? A woman asked in a soft voice. How can that be? The young master's enemy is the strongest young paragon in the world, the first paragon of the Xian people, the saintess of the sovereign sect, the strongest immortal bloodline of the immortal clan, the peerless war emperor of the Imperials, the reincarnated body of the underworld. A woman spoke and mentioned many peerless geniuses who were mighty. They rarely showed themselves, and it was difficult to see them even in the battles of the top 10,000 rankings. Even if they were to stand on the Emperor Road's battle platform, who would dare to challenge them? For example, who would dare to challenge the Skirich young master here? Even in the entire great region, no immortal sects would come here to excavate resources. Of course, this was not because they were afraid of the Skirich young master. It was just that the immortal sects did not want to make an enemy out of a big shot who ran amok. Moreover, the Skirich elder had the Skirich bridge, and he could come and go without a trace. The Great Solar Realm displayed the battle scenes of the various Emperor Road's battle platforms. So far, only the battle between Su Yin and Xian Kuei had caught the Skirich young master's attention. Generally speaking, the most powerful battle was the battle between the top 100 on the Emperor rankings. Once the ranking was over, the top 100 strongest people of the younger generation would be the most glorious. Kill, 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 kill. In the second great region of the Xian people, battle cries filled the sky. The battle was coming to an end, however. The murderous aura of the Celestial Court's army grew stronger and stronger. Their roars shook the starry sky, as if they were cheering for Su Yin. They exuded an even more powerful combat strength and massacred the elite troops of the Xian people. The entire great region was littered with corpses and rivers of blood. We've lost. Some of the Xian people's generals fled and lived in fear. Xian Kuei had been killed without leaving a corpse behind. He had died on the Emperor Road's battle platform. There was also an invisible, ferocious aura that filled the entire great region. The surviving elite troops of the Xian people were terrified. The descendant of a supreme being had been killed on the Emperor Road's battle platform. This was a huge blow that they could not bear. The upper echelons of the Xian people were silent. They did not say a word and did not release any aura. What could they do even if they were angry? Xian Kuei was already dead. Even if they could kill the young Devil King now, the pain in their hearts would not be appeased. What's in that jar? Now, the entire world's attention was on Su Yan. His injuries were extremely serious, but no one dared to step onto the stage. There were many Void Immortals among the Xian people, but there was a big gap between them and Xian Kuei. They were not qualified to step onto the stage at all. Even if they went up, they would be courting death. Therefore, Su Yan's domination of the Emperor's role was basically a foregone conclusion, unless the number one supreme being of the Xian people came. This number one young expert of the Xian people who had consecutively defeated the young paragons of various races was one of the most popular candidates for the Emperor's role title. Everyone was looking forward to seeing if he would make a move. However, at this moment, many people saw a blood-stained green stone jar vibrating. This was taken out by Xian Kuei before he died. The seal had loosened, causing the substance sealed inside to stir. Bam! Su Yan raised his hand and broke the seal on the green jar. This was a storage space. It was tough and indestructible, and the space inside was huge. However, as soon as the seal was broken, red lights surged. The entire green stone jar was dyed red, as if it had turned into a killing weapon. Boom! From this moment onwards, the stone jar rumbled. A scarlet glow swept across the sky and dyed the entire sky a different color. Under Su Yan's fearful gaze, he saw an ancient and dignified aura being emitted from the glow emitted by the stone jar. Phoenix blood. Su Yan was pleasantly surprised. There was a ball of fist-sized scarlet blood flowing in the stone jar. It was dreamlike and seemed unreal. It was as if a celestial phoenix was entrenched in the jar, spitting out auspicious clouds. Phoenix blood, it's really moving. At the same time, the Tongtian young master's eyes, which were as deep as the universe, were fixed on the phoenix blood. Wu Qili immediately found an excuse. She walked over and said with a smile, "Young master's ancestral phoenix secret technique needs the phoenix blood to work. It's really hard to find it without any effort. Young master has been searching for the phoenix blood for many years. Many immortal sects have hidden it and refused to sell it. I didn't expect to find it here." The ancestral phoenix secret technique was world-shaking. It was the most powerful ability in history. However, it wasn't easy to cultivate this secret technique. It required a ball of phoenix blood, but it was hard to find and couldn't be bought even if one had the money. "Wu Qili, I know you have a grudge with the young demon king." A woman frowned. Her jade-like body flowed with golden holy light. She was as beautiful as a sun goddess. She was tall and almost perfect. Her skin was white and tender, and she wore a golden armor that emitted a holy radiance. She said, "But the Celestial Court used to be the strongest clan. They also have a super wanted criminal behind them. Although the phoenix blood is good, it's too troublesome." Inji, Wu Qili's expression didn't change. "I heard you have an ambiguous relationship with Su Yan from the Xianwang universe. Is it true? Otherwise, why would you speak for the Celestial Court?" "Nonsense." The golden woman's golden eyes emitted divine light. Her expression was cold. "Why are you angry?" Wu Qili smiled. "I'm just stating facts. Sister, there's no need to be angry because of a dead person." "Yes, Inji." The Tongtian young master shook his head. "The Celestial Court is no longer the Celestial Court of the past. I must get the phoenix blood. Young master, with the young demon king's temper, he won't give you the phoenix blood." Hearing this, the Tongtian young master said indifferently, "Is a ball of phoenix blood more valuable than a spot in the top 10,000? Wu Qili was overjoyed. If Su Yan didn't agree, the Tongtian young master would have to make a move. He would either hand over the phoenix blood or lose his spot in the top 10,000. He, the Tongtian young master, was qualified to force Su Yin. Chapter 1551. A ball of phoenix blood. That's a supreme treasure that can't be bought with money. Just like that, the young Devil King got it. Xian Kuei has phoenix blood. That's a supreme treasure that can bring someone back from the dead. Judging from the fluctuations of blood, it's of a very high grade. The entire world was in an uproar. Although they only caught a glimpse of it, the people of the world still managed to catch a glimpse of it. Some of the important people were envious of it. It was extremely rare. No matter how much money one had, it was difficult to buy phoenix blood. The Xian people had very little stock of it, and it was impossible for them to sell it out. They were not surprised that Xian Kuei had phoenix blood, but now it had fallen into the young Devil King's hands. Everyone knew that if an immortal stepped into the true immortal realm with the help of a shocking foundation, he would be able to forge a terrifying true immortal body. He would definitely be able to avoid many detours and could even reach the peak of the true immortal realm at an extremely fast speed. Of course, with the shocking effects of phoenix blood, it was an extremely precious liquid for people like Su Yin. Bastard, are the immortals here to give him resources? That's phoenix blood, and the young Devil King got it just like that. The people of the Wondrous Heaven sect were livid with anger. He had obtained phoenix blood. Once he broke through to the true immortal realm, he would be nourished by this terrifying resource, and his future would be even more impressive. This item made the experts of the immortal orthodoxies green with envy. The Xian people were Xian people after all. Phoenix blood could be used to lay the foundation of a true immortal for the younger generation. Once such a young paragon broke through to the true immortal realm, he would definitely be peerless and frightening. With the baptism of creation from the top 10,000, he might even be able to break through the various realms of the true immortal realm in a short time and cultivate to an extremely freakish level. My heart, Su Yin grimaced. He had obtained both phoenix blood and dragon blood. With these two great resources nourishing his body, it was enough for Su Yin to break through to the next realm as much as he wanted. Fan Jian's eyes bulged and even turned red. He knew that Su Yin had obtained a ball of dragon blood from Xian Jun's Milky Way gourd, and now he had obtained phoenix blood. These two great resources were on par with any orthodoxy's resources for breaking through to the true immortal realm. Comparisons are odious. Fan Jian grimaced. He also had a breakthrough item that was not inferior to the phoenix blood, but Su Yin had obtained it so easily. It would be strange if the enemy did not go mad with anger. Of course, Xian Kuei's cyan stone jar did not only contain these items. There was a sea of immortal Dao stones, a large number of spiritual pills and mystic medicines, and all kinds of weapons. The only thing that Su Yin regretted was that there were no mystic arts of the Xian people. He was very jealous of the art of the breaking body that the Xian people's sect master had used. He felt that it was not inferior to the sword body technique and wanted to master it very much. Unfortunately, there was nothing in it. In short, he had gained a lot from Xian Kuei. Although it could not be compared to Xian Jun's Milky Way gourd, it could be said that he had returned from this battle with a bountiful harvest. Ha ha! Supreme Xian people, thank you so much. Su Yan's laughter was transmitted into the small furnace. Immediately, the furnace began to rumble. The remnant soul of the Xian people's paragon was furious. He had paid a great price to obtain this drop of phoenix blood from the clan's treasury. Although he was the Xian people's sect master, there were some resources that he could not ask for freely. Now, it had fallen into Su Yan's hands just like that. This was equivalent to helping the enemy. How could the sect master not be angry? How could he not be annoyed? Brat, how dare you humiliate the Xian people? At this moment, the higher-ups of the Xian people were all furious when they saw the scene displayed by the space-time mirror. This was because Su Yin had raised his foot and kicked over the small furnace. The soul light of the Xian people's sect master had also exploded into pieces. What kind of lightning-fast method was this? It made all the elites who saw this scene shudder with fear and trepidation. This person was truly fearless. He could shatter supreme soul light just by saying so. Moreover, He could even crush his opponent in such a manner. Rumble. In the ancestral land of the Sien people, the vast world began to tremble inexplicably. The mountains, rivers, and earth began to rumble. The entire space-time was collapsing. In the direction of the source, a palace shone. Chaotic ancient chi rose from it and emitted the vicissitudes of time. Inside the palace, the figure entrenched in the primal chaos emitted a supreme aura that swept across the earth. Flames of anger surged and disturbed the heaven and earth. The Sien people's sect master was shocked and furious. Sien Kuei had died just like that. He had high hopes for Sien Kuei and hoped that he could rise up in the future and strive for the top 10 on the Monarch rankings. There was even a slight possibility that he could compete with the number 1 paragon of the Sien people. However, he had died. The Battle of the 10,000 had just begun, and Sien Kuei had died in the end. Sect Master, please calm down. Countless immortal clansmen knelt on the ground, trembling in fear. After all, Sien Kuei was his son, the descendant he was most proud of. If he was killed just like that, it would also damage the supreme dignity of the immortal clan. He could have died in anyone's hands, but he had been killed by a descendant of the Celestial Court. It would be strange if the sect master was not furious. I've spoiled him too much. The Sien people's sect master let out a long sigh. Sien Kuei had terrifying talents, an extraordinary bloodline, and unimaginable resources. He had a great chance of reaching the top 10 on the Monarch rankings. However, his soul light controlled Sien Kuei's physical body and could not kill him in the battle with Su Yan. It was clear that there was a big gap between Sien Kuei and the top paragons. Sect Master, Sien Tyran said in a panic. Once the young Devil King grows up in the future, the consequences will be unpredictable. After all, the Emperor Road was established by the Celestial Court. I'm worried that something unexpected will happen. It's fine. You don't have to worry about this. Just let it develop. The Sien people's sect master side. The number 1 paragon of the Sien people was high and mighty in the Emperor Road. Although Su Yan's combat strength was extraordinary, he did not think that he could cause too much trouble. Very few people knew about the origin of the number 1 paragon. However, he knew very well how powerful the number 1 Sien people's number 1 paragon was. Even without the Black Mist, he had hopes of reaching the top of the Monarch rankings in the future. Sien Tyran and the others were shocked. How powerful was the number 1 paragon of the Sien people? Could it be that even the Sien people's sect master could not order him around? However, they did not dare to ask too much. Perhaps it had something to do with the ancestors of the Sien people. In the 10,000 tribes battlefield, a storm was raging. Sien Kuei's death had caused a terrible shock. At the same time, it was like an alarm bell that alerted the successors of many orthodoxies. If even Sien Kuei was dead, they might fall as well. Many people had a deep fear of the young Devil King. At the same time, they secretly warned themselves to be extra careful. If they really died in battle, they would have nothing left. Everything would be for nothing. Even the resources that they had prepared for many years would be taken away by the enemy. Look, at this moment, some major regions were in an uproar. Along the way, the experts on the Emperor Road's battle platforms were scared out of their wits. It was a silvery figure. He walked across the path to heaven casually. No matter how strong the path to heaven's space-time pressure was, it could not affect his bearing and elegance. Tongtian Young Master. More than a dozen major regions were in an uproar. All the experts on the Emperor Road's battle platforms who were passing by were terrified. They were really worried that he would enter the battle platform. When they saw that he was far away, they heaved a sigh of relief and discussed excitedly. The Tongtian Young Master had come out. Who was he going to fight? Is he going to trigger a battle between paragons? Is he going to fight with the number 1 paragon of the Sien people or the saintess of the sovereign sect? Everyone was talking about it. The number 1 paragon of the Sien people was too famous. Similarly, the Tongtian Young Master had said that he would hunt down the saintess of the sovereign sect one day. However, these two were not ordinary people. It was rumored that the sovereign sectess saintess had cultivated the sovereign sage technique, and her attack power was invincible. This young female paragon was too dazzling and brilliant. She had countless suitors. Let's go and watch the battle. It's a battle between paragons. The places where the Tongtian young master passed by were stirred up. At the same time, the experts in the outside world who were observing the battle through the space-time mirror also noticed that the Tongtian young master was coming out. The second major region of the Xian people was filled with the pungent smell of blood. The entire battlefield was filled with corpses and blood. Boom! Suddenly, a Fangtian halberd flew down from the battle platform that was suspended in the air. Dilly shouted excitedly. With his boundless strength and the support of this heavy artifact, he was valiant and tall. With a ferocious slash, he blasted through the layers of the void and turned a group of immortal tribe elite soldiers into a pile of mud. Bastards, where do you think you're going? Dilly roared, as if he could sweep away an entire army. Another war spear carved with dragons and tigers flew out. Yin Jun's hands were tightly grasped by Dilly. Dilly let out a series of long laughs. More than a dozen divine weapons fell down. They were all rare treasures. Although they were not in the same field as the silver dragon sword, these divine weapons had extremely high growth requirements. Thump, 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 the battle was coming to an end. Long Day Song was extremely tired. A purple bell hung around his neck. The sound waves from the bell blasted open the doors of many secret treasure vaults. There were more than 100 secret treasure vaults in the second major city of the Xian people. There were tons of treasures stored in them. This was a bountiful harvest. Ha ha ha! Many warriors who were bathed in blood laughed. This batch of resources was too precious. If they were distributed, everyone would get a lot. It would be enough for them to grow stronger in a short period of time and compete for more resources in the future. The second and third stages of the Emperor Road. That was the ultimate resource land known as the Golden Treasure Land. That was the highlight of the battle. The second major city of the Xian people was completely breached. Other than the 3,000 elite soldiers who left first, there were not many who survived. The army was defeated like a landslide. The fairy surviving elite troops fled in batches like stray dogs. No one was in the mood to continue fighting. The collapse of the 10 major teleportation portals had dealt a heavy blow to the Xian people's morale. Now that the cities had been breached, the Xian people were fleeing in all directions. Charge! The Celestial Court's army was in high spirits. They killed their way out, leaving a trail of corpses along the way. The battle line was stretched out rapidly. Soon, the second major city of the Xian people was affected. The vast city was stained with blood. Who would have thought that just 500 cavalrymen could take down the second major city of the Xian people? Many warriors were also looking at the figure sitting cross-legged on the Emperor Road battle platform. He was covered in blood. However, in their hearts, Su Yin was too majestic. He had an unparalleled aura that suppressed all living beings in the universe. Boom! All of a sudden, the Emperor Road battle platform that Su Yin was sitting cross-legged on began to rumble. The Emperor Board! Someone exclaimed. The Emperor Board had appeared in the sky. However, the battle would last for a month. Why did the Emperor Board appear in the sky now? That's right. The Emperor Board had appeared in the sky and was approaching the Emperor Road battle platform where Su Yin was. How is this possible? Everyone exclaimed. Some were angry and said, this is cheating. Su Yin used to be alone on the Emperor Board. Now, the young Demon King has triggered the Emperor Board in advance. They are cheating. They must be cheating. This is not fair. Chapter 1552. The monarch ranking was majestic and ancient, filled with boundless divine might. No one knew who created this ranking, but contained indescribable order and rules. It was also known as the Glory Ranking. There were too many glorious legends on the monarch ranking. When the Emperor Road opened, all the battles for the seats were decided by the monarch ranking. No one doubted the monarch ranking or the rules of the Emperor Road. After countless years, the battles for the monarch ranking were fair. As long as one was strong enough, they could enter the monarch ranking and enjoy endless glory. But now, the monarch ranking had appeared in the second major domain of the Xian people. It's time for us to go, Yi Yuan and the others whispered. The battle blood in their bodies began to boil. After conquering the second city of the Xian people, they did not plan to stay here for long. The Xian people had lost 2 major domains in a row and suffered heavy losses. If the Xian people really went berserk, it would not be a good thing. With the strength they had accumulated, it would be a disaster. At the same time, Dali and the others also wanted to fight for the top 10,000 seats. Buzz. The ancient and mysterious golden ranking fell from the sky. It was somewhat blurry and mysterious. It emitted endless light that could easily suppress one's soul. The majestic monarch ranking rushed towards the Emperor Road battle stage where Su Yan was. My path has just begun. The true immortal Tao is coming. The monarch rankings reflection. The first reflection of the monarch ranking has unlocked the most ancient potential of my body. It's equivalent to the release of my talent. Back then, Emperor Nan and the others almost died because of me. However, my awakening was interrupted because of that. The second reflection of the monarch ranking is coming. I'm really looking forward to it. Su Yan clenched his fists. His blood-stained body glowed as he absorbed the energy in the world to replenish his losses. He even took out precious elixirs to nourish his body. In short, the appearance of the monarch ranking was very sudden. It disrupted some of Su Yan's plans. He did not expect it to come so early. Now that the creation had manifested, he faced the monarch ranking again. It was different from the first time. He felt like he was in a mythical universe, an ancient universe. He felt like he was being nurtured by the universe. Buzz. Su Yan's blood-stained skin glowed as his injuries healed significantly. In addition to the nourishment of a large number of pellets, Su Yan was on the verge of reaching his peak. At the same time, he was immersed in the process of the monarch rankings projection. This was an opportunity that he had to grasp. What is this? Isn't the Emperor Road Battle Platform contest not over yet? Many people cried out. They felt that it was unfair and that Su Yan was cheating. They felt that the Emperor Road was biased towards the Celestial Court. This was especially true for the forces of the underworld. Their expressions were ugly. Could it be that they were just going to watch the Celestial Court get a spot? After all, once the Emperor ranking board appeared, no one would be qualified to fight for Su Yan's Emperor Road Battle Platform. What do you know? Be quiet. An old antique with a frightening lifespan stood out and shouted, "Although this is unexpected, it's not like it hasn't happened before. The young Devil King risked his life to kill Xian Kuei, so there's no doubt about his strength. It's reasonable for him to obtain the opportunity to be reflected by the Monarch Board." What? And it's such a thing? The crowd was shocked and a little surprised. Some experts from the major sects nodded and said, "This is also to protect this kind of young genius. The young Devil King must be exhausted after this battle. If a random void immortal came and killed him, wouldn't it be too unfair?" This kind of thing had happened before. This meant that Su Yan's potential was strong enough. This kind of person had already obtained the recognition of the Monarch Board through his own strength. Some people who doubted the rules of the Emperor Road were instantly embarrassed. They never thought that there would be such a layer. Indeed, was Su Yan not strong enough? It was certain that he would get a spot. There was no need to doubt it at all. What title did the young Devil King leave on the Monarch Board? Many people were curious. Although there were more than 1,000,000 titles on the Monarch Board, some experts with extraordinary cultivation could remember 1,000,000 titles in a short period of time. It was a pity that they did not see the young Devil King. They were curious about what title this person had left behind. Don't worry. Someone was very calm and said, "When a young Devil King steps into the true immortal realm, his title will appear on the new Monarch Board." Some people felt that this was not important. Even if they knew the young Devil King's real name, they still could not figure out his background. In fact, the Xian people felt that this young Devil King might be a supreme genius secretly cultivated by the Celestial Court. Su Yan was on the Monarch Board. His figure seemed to be merging with the Monarch Board. It was as if he was in the ancient universe, watching the sun, the moon, and the stars. He felt as if he was comprehending the supreme profundities from the ancient times. It was as if he saw a universe emitting endless light of order. In an instant, Su Yan's body emitted a divine glow. The Origin Sutra flashed out from his flesh shell. His entire person seemed to be different. The Origins Sutra, which had formed the preface of the sutra, was operating. Even the ancient universe he was in started to rumble. What was this? Su-Yin seemed to see the ancient universe returning to chaos, and the heavens were being reopened. His emotions were surging. This was a great opportunity. The monarch board reflected the supreme Tao fruit. It could even show the profundities of the Origin Sutra. Of course, Su-Yin was no exception when he remembered that the Emperor Road was opened by the Celestial Emperor of the Celestial Court. In short, everyone wanted to be reflected by the monarch board. What a terrifying aura. Who's rushing down from the path to heaven? It seems to be the Tongtian young master. He's here. What's his intention? The region was once again in an uproar. They thought that the dust had settled in this large region, but the Tongtian young master suddenly came. The Tongtian young master rushed down from the path to heaven. He was wearing a silver robe. His aura was extraordinary, and he was a peerless, handsome man. One had to admit that the Tongtian young master was as handsome as Fan Jian. However, this one was too dazzling. His silver robe was like a flowing river of stars, and it was decorated with golden stars. The robe was made of the highest grade Great Luo silver essence. It was quite extravagant, and the successors of immortal orthodoxies could only look at the stars and sigh. He was an invincible god of war who was ranked third on the monarch board. He also had the Tongtian immortal physique with monstrous magic power. Although he was in a calm state, his breathing caused the entire starry sky to tremble. Then, the vast region began to darken, and the sun and moon lost their brilliance. As the Tongtian young master breathed, the world was filled with the sound of muffled thunder. The gloomy world shone brightly and rumbled. What a terrifying person! Yuan's expression was serious. This person was very strong. Just a little bit of his technique was enough to show how shocking the Tongtian young master's magic power was. It affected heaven and earth, and he seemed to be standing at the peak of the starry sky, overlooking all living things. It's the Tongtian young master. The distant world was in an uproar. What was he doing here? What a grand display. Miser's eyes were blazing like two silver suns. It was fine that he was here, but there was also a group of proud girls behind him. They were as proud as a group of phoenixes. However, Dali scratched his head and stared at a dazzling golden girl. Wasn't this the maid that Big Brother suppressed? Why was she here? Dali, this girl is not bad. Fan Jian couldn't stand the Tongtian young master's arrogance and said in a low voice, but you can't always stare at her. It's rude. You have to be a gentleman. I'll introduce you to Third Brother later. Our sword sect has many handsome men, but Third Brother doesn't seem to like them. Maybe he likes men like you. I'll teach you a lesson later. Gentlemen, Dali mumbled, feeling that it didn't match his powerful aura. However, he lowered his voice and said, I don't mean to offend her, but this girl is the maid that Big Brother suppressed. Why is she with the Tongtian young master? If Big Brother sees her, he won't be happy. What did you say? Fan Jian covered his forehead, feeling a little dizzy. This kid is really lucky. The girls behind the Tongtian young master were extremely calm. Only Wu Qili was furious. The Emperor Road battle platform was sealed, and the Tongtian young master could no longer enter it. Tongtian young master, I've heard a lot about you. Yuan wanted to walk over, but Emperor Nan waved his hand and stopped him. Emperor Nan's bearing was quite extraordinary. His imperial majesty was not inferior to any of the successors of immortal orthodoxies. He took the initiative to walk over, cupped his hands, and said, Friend, what brings you here from afar? I'm here to look for him. I have no business with you. Step back. The Tongtian young master said calmly. He didn't think that he could be friends with Emperor Nan. His friends were only the few strongest young paragons. He didn't even look at Emperor Nan. His eyes were fixed on Su-Yin. Fan Jian's face was gloomy. This son of AB *TCH was too arrogant. He wanted everyone to step back. The Celestial Court's army was gathered here, representing an entire tribe. How could they step back just because of the Tongtian young master? He doesn't come with good intentions. Emperor Nan's face darkened. Since the other party didn't give him any face, there was no need to welcome him with courtesy. Don't you understand? Step back now. Wu Qili's temper wasn't very good. She scolded a group of soldiers who reeked of blood. She looked at them with disdain, thinking that they were a group of lowly people. And you, young Devil King. Wu Qili pointed to the man on the Emperor Road battle platform and said in a commanding tone, "The Tongtian young master is here. Why don't you come down and welcome him?" Wu Qili of the Wu family. You've risen in status. Fan Jian was angry and said, "What? You've been with the Tongtian young master for a few days. Do you really think you're a local tyrant? Who are you ordering around? Who are you scolding?" Wu Qili looked at Fan Jian coldly. She didn't recognize who he was and said coldly, "Who do you think you are? A nobody like you has the right to criticize me? Are all of you from the celestial court as arrogant as the young Devil King? I'm not qualified to criticize a woman with 3 red moles on her buttocks." Fan Jian calmed down. Those who knew him knew that Fan Jian had gone berserk at this moment. Who was he? He was the best swordsman in the world. Why would he be afraid of the Tongtian young master? Speaking of which, I'm afraid everyone doesn't know what the 3 red moles look like. Qingtian young master will post it on his Weixin public account later. Search for Qingtian young master on my Weixin public account and add him as a follower. Chapter 1553. In the vast area, there was a hubbub of voices as more and more spectators gathered. The Tongtian young master was too famous. If he really fought with the young demon king, it would definitely be a great battle. From this moment on, no one would look down on the young demon king who killed the son of a supreme being. At this moment, a young man's words were like a gust of cold wind, causing the spectators to be dumbfounded. They were all petrified and could not say a word. They had seen the young demon king's guts before, but this stranger's words were like a lightning strike. The experts were a little flustered and dizzy, wondering if they had heard wrongly. Wu Qili's palm-sized, snow-white face had already turned purple. Her delicate body was trembling slightly. Although she was trying her best to suppress her anger, she was still trembling. She was about to go crazy. Her heart and lungs were trembling, as if she had been struck by lightning. In all directions, many people were looking at Wu Qili's buttocks discreetly. They were thinking evilly, does she really have 3 red moles? However, the young demon king had once said this in the 9 Pinnacles Mountain. Although this was not widely spread due to the Tongtian young master's reputation, some people knew more about it. Now that Fan Jian had said the same thing in front of Heavenspan Junior Master, it caused quite a stir. It seemed like the rumors were true, and there was a good chance that they were true. Some people felt that the girl beside the Tongtian young master was too aggressive. She even dared to humiliate the celestial court. Did she really think of herself as a heavenly daughter? Did she really think of herself as an invincible king? Indeed, the Tongtian young master's eyes were cold. He did not say a word, but he raised his palm and tried to suppress Fan Jian. It looked like a casual move, but it actually contained a terrifying heavenly might. It covered the sky and suppressed everything. It was undefeatable. It hasn't started. It's already over. Many people looked at Fan Jian with pity. Why did he provoke the Tongtian young master? Wasn't he courting death? No matter how aggressive Wu Qili's words were, it was not something an ordinary person could refute. Furthermore, Fan Jian refuted in such a tone, not leaving any face for the Tongtian young master. But to Fan Jian, if you respect me, I will respect you tenfold. Since the Tongtian young master didn't give them any face at all, they still had to respond with a smile. How were they any different from slaves? You don't know the difference between life and death, Wu Qili said. She looked at Fan Jian as if she were looking at a dead man. Suddenly, at the moment when everyone thought that Fan Jian was about to die, Fan Jian's expression changed. A sword beam erupted. Everyone thought that the young Devil King had made his move, but in reality, that was not the case. Boom! Fan Jian directly raised his hand. Dazzling silver-white sword light filled the sky as it clashed with the heavenly Grandmaster, young master's palm. Rumbling sound exploded. Under everyone's shocked gazes, the 2 palms collided. Heaven and earth collapsed, and all matter ceased to exist. What kind of barbaric and abnormal strength was this? But what shocked them even more was that this white-clothed youth was able to erupt with such terrifying strength and block the attack of the Skirich young master. What? Even the group of stunning beauties behind the Skirich young master were shocked. They knew very well that even a casual attack from the heavenly grandmaster was not something an ordinary hollow immortal could withstand. However, Fan Jian had perfectly withstood it. Moreover, he did not look flustered at all. He was very calm and very shocking. Interesting, the Skirich young master was slightly stunned. He stared at Fan Jian and said, "But even if you want to die, you have to follow the order of first come, first served. My patience is limited. Let the young devil king come down and talk." What a big tone. Do you think I'm afraid of you? Fan Jian was angry. Wasn't this too arrogant? Your Excellency is so rude. Are you treating us like paper? Yuan's words were cold. Divine light shot out from his eyes, shaking the void. At the same time, his aura was fully awakened, and a strong martial Dao aura leaked out. A huge phantom of a war god appeared behind him, filled with a grand aura that could suppress space and time. What right do you have to ask my big brother to come down and talk to you? Dali was furious. His majestic body burned fiercely, like a huge furnace of heaven and earth. Dragon roars could be heard from within. Young man, those who used to talk to him like this can't even find a bone now. The blacksmith and Zhang Liang stood out. The two limitless golden bodies had ice-cold expressions. They had a domineering, demonic aura that could swallow the starry sky. The scripture's profound meaning was profound and hard to understand. It was as if they were in a boundless world. Heaven and earth were shaken, one after another. The young kings burst out one after another. They were all very powerful. They shocked the world, and a group of kings filled the sky. Killing intent leaked out as they faced the Skirich young master. Are my eyes playing tricks on me? He's the Skirich young master. Are they going to gang up on the Skirich young master? The heroes trembled. The celestial court responded in such a way. Were they going to fight the Skirich young master? The Skirich young master's face was cold. He did not expect the celestial court to respond in such a way. Yingji's expression was complicated. She knew that these people were fearless and had experienced all kinds of dangers. Back then, Su Xianren was many times crazier than them. Although that person had fallen, it did not mean that the Yuan and the others were pushovers. In the future, as long as they had some opportunities, they would have great achievements. Boom! In the next moment, a terrifying aura was released, causing the vast territory to tremble. Long Daesong walked forward with heavy steps, breathing out yin and yang qi from his mouth and nose as he glared at the Skirich young master. In an instant, a terrifying aura assaulted them. Yingji and the others lost their composure. They felt a monstrous pressure and felt a supreme life form devouring them. It was as if an invincible sacred beast was awakening and illuminating the universe. What a good war beast! The Skirich young master stared at the Long Daesong with blazing eyes. What kind of war beast was this? What a terrifying foundation. If he could subdue it, he would be like a tiger that had grown wings. The Long Daesong's cavalry trampled on the ground, wanting to tear the Skirich young master apart with a charge. Young master, be careful. The group of beauties' expressions changed. This was an invincible sacred beast at the true immortal realm. The Skirich young master was only at the void immortal realm. Could he suppress it? In fact, Fan Jian was thinking that if Niu Daesong had not just broken through and was in a weakened state, he alone could beat the Long Daesong until the Skirich young master's face turned green. After all, Long Daesong was now a true immortal realm expert. No matter, the Skirich young master smiled. His silver robe scattered with the light of the 9 heavens, as if the stars of the heavens were flowing through his body. He said, "Looks like I'll return with a fruitful trip this time." Such big words. Aren't you afraid of blowing yourself to death? The miser flew through the air and spread his huge wings. His body was huge and blotted out the sky like a supreme divine bird. He occupied the sky and could explode with a thunderous attack at any time. At this moment, Su Yin did not know what was happening in the outside world. He was silent in the world of the universe and could not recover for a long time. What a rich aura of the true Phoenix bloodline. The Skirich young master laughed and said, "It really is effortless." Good, good, good. He shouted the word good 3 times in a row. His aura was also infinitely powerful. He spat out starlight and divine might. It was as if the stars were collapsing. The Skirich young master was an unparalleled genius. He was known as the top 3 on the monarch ranking. Naturally, he had his pride and elegance. Facing the kings of the celestial court, his expression did not change. He had the belief that he was invincible. After all, he was the Skirich immortal physique and was known to be invincible among his peers. You're facing all of us alone. Aren't you afraid that you'll die from overeating? The miser shouted. Yuan and the others' auras surged at the same time, drowning the entire universe. Their expressions were cold and filled with killing intent. What can you do? The Skirich young master put his hands behind his back and said proudly, "So what if I kill all of you? Then stand still." Yuan's eyes widened. Cold light shot out from his pupils. He waved his hand and shouted, "Kill! Kill!" Suddenly, heaven and earth trembled. A boundless killing, intense storm was born in an instant. Kill! The second roar exploded. Heaven and earth cracked, and the sun and moon lost their light. All the soldiers and generals were fully awakened. The iron cavalry shattered the sky and blocked the peak of the 9 heavens. Kill! The third roar exploded in unison. The galaxy was vast and mighty, and the sun and moon were destroyed. A chaotic scene was born. A group of ferocious divine and devil weapons exploded. Their killing intent was so strong that the souls of the heroes were about to explode. When their chi and blood gathered, people could only look up. The sky was about to be torn apart. It was a soul-stirring sight. Hiss! All the onlookers were terrified. They were all having a headache. Imperial Court's army was fully awakened, and even a group of great generals erupted with power. Just how shocking of a scene was this? Their auras swallowed up the entire great region, and they were like unrivaled lions that could sweep through any side. Even peak true immortals could only feel despair when they encountered them. Young Master, Wu Qili and the rest were frightened. The chi and blood in front of them were already rumbling, tearing everything apart. Even the Tongtian young master was extremely weak in this situation. His eyes were filled with bone-chilling coldness. He really didn't expect that the heavenly court would send out an army to kill him. Bastard! The Tongtian young master clenched his fist and said angrily, "Let's go. The young devil king is afraid and doesn't dare to fight me. I'll remember this. I'll take revenge 1,000 times in the future. Where do you think you're going?" The army was like a flood that swept away everything. It destroyed everything and rushed towards the retreating Tongtian young master. Everyone in the world was stunned. Who would have thought that the Tongtian young master would encounter all of this? He had escaped. Obviously, he was also stunned. He did not expect the Celestial Court's army to attack and kill him. Yeah, what's there to be arrogant about? That's what he should do. Don't think that everyone has to give him some leeway and respect him. His master is strong, but he's not the strong one. Why does he have to show off? Kill him. The outside world was in an uproar. Some old fellows were clapping and cheering. Boom! It was hard for the Tongtian young master to find a foothold in this destructive field. He was decisive. He raised his hand and threw out a golden stone bridge, forcefully opening a space-time path in the destructive field. Rumble! Energy storms filled the sky. Although the golden stone bridge was trembling, it was difficult to destroy it. This golden stone bridge flashed with mysterious space-time laws. It was a rare space-time treasure. Yin Jun was shocked. This was a replica of the heavenly bridge. It pierced through an extremely distant region. In just a breath's time, the Tongtian young master's figure was blurred. He was almost out of sight. Dai Song attacked. Fan Jian roared. Damn it. How could they let him escape so easily with such a huge lineup? The long Dai Song spewed out golden ripples from its nose and mouth, shattering space-time. Its 4 golden hooves trampled the ground. Its flesh flowed with the aura of a true dragon. The golden horn on its forehead suddenly pierced forward. Kill! Dali and the others instantly stood on the Long Daesong's back, erupting with great supernatural powers at the same time. The distant experts watching the battle were horrified. They saw the Long Daesong's horn strike the blue stone bridge, causing it to tremble. Fan Jian and the others attacked with all their might. Giant supernatural powers grasped the blue stone bridge. The Long Daesong fiercely swallowed. It opened its mouth and bit down on the blue stone bridge. Together with Dali and the others, they exerted their strength and forcefully pulled the space-time treasure back. Bastard! The Tongtian young master was furious. His treasure had been snatched away. However, just as he was about to turn around and attack, the Celestial Court's army roared across the long space-time path. Millions of rays of killing light surged and suppressed the Tongtian young master. Preposterous! The Tongtian young master was furious. His body spewed out a terrifying radiance. This scene was so stimulating that he was about to go crazy. Young master, Wu Qili and the others were stunned. They were afraid that the Tongtian young master would not be able to resist and attack. How could he fight against such a lineup? However, that blue stone bridge was a replica of the Heavenly Bridge. It was a rare space-time treasure forged by the Tongtian young master's son. It could cross an entire continent. Its value was unimaginable. In the outside world, the important figures of the various races were dumbfounded. What was this? The Tongtian young master had lost face. He ran to the second major domain of the Xian people to behave atrociously. In the end, he was beaten so badly that he did not dare to look back. When I become a true immortal, I'll kill them all. A creature with the bloodline of a true phoenix needs to grow. When it matures, I'll personally harvest it. And that battle beast, it'll be mine sooner or later. Soon, the Tongtian young master regained his composure. He was extremely powerful and confident. The true immortal realm was the most terrifying era of the Tongtian immortal physique. Even if he encountered the lineup before, he was confident that he could kill them all. That old man ran away. The miser laughed excitedly. How dare he behave atrociously here? You should have seen how many eyes Lord Ma has. Be careful next time, Yuan said. After suffering such a huge loss, he won't take it lying down. Woo-woo. Long Daesong happily took out the blue stone bridge. This item was quite shocking. It could carry an army and come without a trace at this moment. Su Yin was still immersed in the reflection of the Emperor leaderboard. It was as if he was in the ancient universe. In the process of the universe repeating itself, he felt that he had become one with the universe. Even a grain of sand or soil was stained with his aura. It was as if he was planted in the universe. In the process of opening the skies, he had to grow and be reconstructed. Boom! Even Su Yan's gray blood was boiling, as if it was being nurtured and matured by this universe. The gray blood was changing, and soon it was golden yellow. Brothers, this is a big chapter. There will be more tonight. Please support me with monthly votes. Chapter 1554. It had been 10 days. Su Yin had been immersed in the reflection of the Emperor leaderboard for 10 whole days. He did not move at all. The number of people paying attention to him had decreased significantly. The experts from the major immortal sects were all paying attention to the battles taking place on the Emperor Road's battle stages. Some of the battles were quite shocking. However, ever since Xian Kuei and Su Yan's battle to the death, the Emperor Road's battle stages had become less intense. This could be considered as a formless deterrence. The death of a powerful Supreme Being's son had placed a heavy pressure on the hearts of the younger generation. They would die too. Perhaps today, perhaps tomorrow, or perhaps in the future. The battles between the strongest were too cruel. However, some of the more determined ones were still fighting on the Emperor Road's battle stages. What caught everyone's attention was the bloody battle in the third city of the Xian people. It was beyond everyone's expectations. The Flame Emperor's Flame Sparrow was like a goddess of the fire path. Her combat strength was terrifying beyond imagination. There was no doubt that Flame Sparrow had hidden herself well for her own safety. Now, On the Emperor Road's battle stage, she had unleashed her full strength. This was mainly because she had encountered a terrifying opponent. Zhu Senghua's strength was beyond her expectations. Fortunately, Su Yin had told her to prepare in advance. Otherwise, she would have suffered a great loss. Roar! The ancient and majestic Emperor Road's battle stage shook. Zhu Senghua's power was earth-shattering. He had the aura of a supreme being. His entire body seemed to have taken root in the universe. He was extremely powerful. Oh my God! Everyone was shocked. Who would have thought that Zhu Senghua would be so terrifying? The entire Emperor Road's battle stage was shaking from his attacks. Faced with the overwhelming energy storm, Flame Sparrow's strength was unmatched. Zhu Senghua, you're really something. Flame Sparrow was also a heroine. She had been killing her whole life. She knew that she was no match for Zhu Senghua. This person's body had a particularly ancient and majestic aura. He could easily suppress a king of the same generation. This was the embodiment of a supreme being. There was even a supreme being's bloodline erupting in his body. For a moment, he looked extremely frightening. I might not be able to kill the young Devil King, but do you think I can't kill you? In fact, Zhu Senghua had underestimated Flame Sparrow. He thought that he could kill her in a few moves. However, Flame Sparrow had concealed her strength. Kill me? Dream on. The blazing sparrow's entire body was covered in millions of golden divine flames. She was like a goddess of the Tao of fire that stood above the sea of fire. Her beauty was unparalleled, and the flame mark on her forehead began to spin, shooting out golden flames that could burn the sky. Vaguely, there was a supreme heavenly might that existed since the ancient times. Her flame imprint was a bit similar to Xian Kuei's, like the supreme being diagram of the Great Tao. It was the Flame Sparrow's trump card, and once it was released, she would be like a female war god that could burn mountains and boil seas, full of charm. The Flame Sparrow is no match for him. This bamboo sunflower really hid his strength well. I didn't expect that the declining sky bamboo lineage could produce such a Yingjie. I just don't know if Zhu Yanghua will go mad when he sees that the energy of his golden elixir has been depleted after breaking through with his golden elixir. Far away in the Sword Tomb, Fan Jian was observing this battle through the space-time treasure mirror. His complexion darkened. Even if he fought Zhu Yanghua, he might not be able to suppress him. The sky bamboo primogenitor's root was equivalent to the primogenitor's second life. This supreme treasure was difficult to find in this world. After the bamboo sun essence fused with it, the sky bamboo primogenitor would have the demeanor of an invincible existence in its generation. It would be extremely powerful. Huh? What happened? At this moment, some of the big shots who were paying attention to Su Yin changed their expression slightly. Although everything was blurred in the process of the monarch rankings reflection, they suddenly saw a golden ocean in the middle of it. It exuded an ancient and mighty divine might, as if it could suppress the 9 heavens and 10 earths. It was a terrifying vision. The golden ocean was boundless, with surging waves, lightning, and thunder. It seemed to have drowned the entire Emperor Road battle platform. However, it was a pity that this vision only lasted for a brief moment before it disappeared. No one knew what had happened. In short, the Monarch Rankings reflection was more and more astonishing. The Monarch Rankings reflection of the top 100 and top 10 was getting more and more amazing. Legend had it that the Monarch ranking was a priceless supreme treasure that could unlock a person's treasures and potential. Boom! In the ancient universe created by the Monarch ranking, it seemed to be nurturing a warrior immortal and a deity. Su Yan's blood was changing. The golden color was monstrous and formed an energy light screen that reflected on Su Yan's battle physique. At this moment, Su Yan was like a reincarnated immortal king. His entire person was different. His treasured body turned into a golden color and was filled with terrifying divine might. He seemed to be able to collapse the entire sea of stars by raising his hand and shake the big stars in the distant regions. What a terrifying bloodline. The Supreme Bloodline is nothing. If it's activated, who can rival it? Su Yan was shocked. His bloodline was originally nine-colored. In the Dark Calamity, his blood absorbed the dark matter and turned into 10-colored blood. As time passed, Su Yan's blood automatically mixed and turned into gray blood. Now, the gray blood boiled and turned into golden blood. Unknowingly, Su Yan seemed to have been blessed by a supreme talent. In a flash, he saw another him occupying the cosmos. As he breathed, the great cosmos rose and fell. The world sank into darkness, and the vast starry domain entered eternal silence. His other self was supreme like an immortal king that had existed since ancient times. His precious appearance was solemn, and his body was like the cosmos. His strength was like the sea of stars, his bones were like mountains and rivers. His blood was like a vast ocean, his hair was like the nine heavens, and his eyes were like the sun, moon, and stars. In short, his other self was too terrifying. He was among the cosmos heavens and reigned supreme since the ancient times. Su Yan was stupefied. Was this his future self? It was just too frightening. He could intimidate everything just by standing here. In a flash, Su Yan felt a kind of pain. It was as if a big black hand reached out from the underworld and grabbed his body. He seemed to have withered and was undergoing destruction. His entire body also fell into the underworld and suffered the pain of millions and millions of malicious spirits devouring his heart. This kind of pain was suffocating to the point of death. Get lost! Su Yan let out a furious roar. His powerful Tao heart stabilized as he executed the beginning scripture to suppress the power of the seed demon of the underworld. In the process, Su Yan saw that the monarch ranking was suppressing the seed demon of the underworld, which was on the verge of exploding. However, the seal was too shocking. Vaguely, the seed demon of the underworld turned into a giant shadow with its head above the sky and its feet below the purgatory. It was utterly terrifying. The seal was ridiculously powerful, resisting the suppression of the monarch ranking. The seed demon of the underworld. Su Yan's eyes turned cold. His golden blood dimmed and turned gray in the end. It fell silent and no longer emitted any energy waves. He clenched his fists. There was no sign of regret, but he remained calm. The second phase of the monarch ranking was trying to break the seal on me, but it failed. I wonder if the third phase of the monarch ranking is able to break the seal on me? Su Yan murmured to himself. As a matter of fact, the seed demon of the underworld did not affect Su Yan too much. It was only affecting Su Yan's bloodline talents, as if all his talents originated from his bloodline. Either way, his bloodline was very special. But my bloodline is too powerful. It's enough to make me undefeatable. But this kind of undefeatable, Su Yan shook his head. This was not what he wanted. He believed that no matter how powerful one's talents were, it was impossible to become a peerless expert. He could only rely on his own effort to accumulate experience, to experience life and death, in order to reap the strongest Tao fruit. Meanwhile, Su Yan discovered that the ancient universe reflected by the monarch ranking had collapsed. Su Yan had gained a lot. After 10 days of comprehension, Su Yan had gained a lot. It would be of great help to him in his immortal path. However, the monarch ranking still poured down a sacred rain of light, which stimulated Su Yan's flesh shell to glow. The most ancient and primitive treasures were restless, ready to bloom. From this moment onward, Su Yan sensed the great essence of life flowing in his body. It was no doubt that it was being stimulated by the monarch ranking. The process was relatively slow, which was different from the first time. Without a doubt, Su Yan's essence of life was already very strong. Although he had stimulated part of it this time, it was not as crazy as the first time. It's coming. Su Yan's heart was pounding. He was rich and had prepared more than 100,000 kilograms of immortal Tao stones. Besides, Su Yan had immortal herbs, dragon blood, phoenix blood, and all kinds of golden core secret medicines, and the supreme golden core of the golden immortal cave, which was more than enough for him to evolve. Boom! A day later, dozens of regions in the undying heavenly realm rumbled. It was the awakening of an extremely vast aura, which shook the universe. Billions of demons came out of their cages and revolved around a great world filled with Qi. Such a terrifying aura. It seems to be the underworld. Could it be the master of the underworld? Countless creatures were terrified. Even if they were millions and millions of miles away, separated by great regions, the people of the world could still sense the grand energy fluctuations rising from the source, making them want to kneel on the ground and prostrate themselves in worship. The master of the underworld. The experts of the underworld were shocked. They immediately knelt on the ground and kowtowed to the source, shouting, "Welcome, master of the underworld." Although they had not seen the master of the underworld in person, they could still sense the terrifying life force erupting. The master of the underworld, who had been sleeping for an entire universe, was slowly awakening, causing the world to tremble and the surrounding continents to resonate. Why did the master of the underworld come out of seclusion? Some ancestral patriarchs of the underworld were surprised and overjoyed. In the past, the master of the underworld, the ancestor of the Cien people, and the ancestral patriarch of the Mystic Heaven sect had destroyed the branch of the Celestial Court. The three of them had worked together to excavate many treasured lands and forbidden regions in the universe. Many years ago, the master of the underworld had obtained a great opportunity and entered a deep slumber. If there was no major event, the master of the underworld would not come out of seclusion. Who is it that has awakened me? Or is it that is calling me? In the vast territory of the underworld, a world-ending godly sound exploded, causing the vast continents to tremble. The cultivation of this kind of person was too shocking. Anything related to him would directly alarm his true body. In the endless darkness, two pairs of eyes flashed with cold light as they looked at the battlefield of the 10,000 races. It seems to be related to this place. Then, he retracted his gaze and looked at the dark land. Soon, he saw the source of the sound. He saw a herb glowing and displaying the 6 paths of reincarnation. The herb seemed to have turned into a small person and was chanting the heavenly music of the great Tao of reincarnation. What is this? This is the reincarnation herb. Back then, the master of the underworld had explored the forbidden regions of the universe and dug out a reincarnation herb. Unfortunately, it had not matured yet. He had paid a huge price to transplant it here. It had been more than 100,000 years, and he had spent an unimaginable amount of wealth to nurture it. It was very close to maturing. This was an ultimate treasure herb that even ancestral patriarchs valued. Otherwise, they would not have guarded the master of the underworld for an entire universe. Now it was getting closer and closer to maturing the ultimate treasure herb. Chapter 1555. The forces of underworld had been passed down for a long time, and they had been strong since ancient times. The Lord of Underworld was an invincible giant in the undying heavenly region. He had lived for too long, and he rarely showed himself in the cultivation world. Now, the Underworld's continents were releasing waves of energy that swept across the undying land, and the surrounding regions were shaken. Everyone was shocked. He was one of the oldest giants in the world, and he had been dormant for an era. Why would he suddenly awaken? Could it be because of the Emperor Road? Although the Emperor Road was a training ground for the strongest sky prides, there was no need to alert such a supreme existence, right? Just as disciples and grand disciples alone were all incredible experts. The Lord of Underworld is getting stronger. The Sword Province was not far from Underworld. The Sword Sect's founder was suddenly awakened, and a light shot out from his eyes, vaguely peeking at the Lord of Underworld. Although the Sword Sect's founder was not from the same era as the Lord of Underworld, since the Lord of Underworld was the founder of a prosperous immortal sect, he was also a powerful existence. However, the Sword Sect's founder could vaguely sense the Lord of Underworld's mysteriousness and strength. Since the collapse of the Celestial Court 1,000,000 years ago, the Cien people's founders had worked together to excavate many forbidden regions in the universe, and they must have gained a lot, and their strength was getting stronger and stronger. Of course, the most important thing was that the founders of the Cien people had participated in the battle for the ultimate land. What happened during that time? Why did they come out alive was still a mystery. I wonder what they dug out that caused it to be dormant for an entire era. The sword's sex, Founder murmured. After all, this was related to the ultimate treasure medicine, and he did not dare to be careless or careless. He, the Lord of Underworld, had guarded the rebirth medicine for an entire era, and it would mature soon. The Lord of Underworld's dormancy was mainly because of this medicine, and he had to make sure nothing went wrong. Moreover, if the news of the ultimate medicine was leaked out, it would definitely cause a bloodbath among the strongest in the undying heavenly region, and the founders of various clans might jump out to fight for it. Therefore, this matter must be kept a secret. To them, even though a universe era was long, it was nothing to them, as they had an endless lifespan. In the vast darkness, he could not see anything, and it was as if the universe was spinning. The Lord of Underworld was surprised. What had awakened him? Although the Netherworld Palace also had young supremes and outstanding disciples, they were not at the level that could awaken him. What is it? He frowned, puzzled. He was very strong, but for him to be suddenly awakened, there had to be some sort of karma. Although this wasn't a big deal, the Lord of the Underworld was taking it very seriously. This was a big deal to him, and it wasn't a small matter. However, he wasn't able to find out the reason for it in a short period of time. Lord of Underworlds. At this very moment, outside the boundless darkness, batch after batch of densely packed figures were kowtowing towards the realm where the Lord of Hell was located. They were cheering and shouting with extreme fanaticism. The Lord of Hell retracted his gaze. He lay dormant in the endless darkness, emanating the aura of an ancient creature. He was terrifying and outrageous, destroying the universe's starry sky. It was hard to imagine what level he stood at. He was an invincible giant. Along the way, he flicked his finger and hit the reincarnation elixir. Boom! The reincarnation elixir shone. Under the underworld's underworld, two great Tao of reincarnation sputtered out and flew to the outside world. Although it was only two great Tao of reincarnation, it was peerless and shocking. It was as if the six paths of reincarnation were evolving, chanting the supreme great Tao of reincarnation. It was deafening, causing the vast world to blur and even start to rotate, as if it was undergoing some kind of special reincarnation. Although the reincarnation elixir had not been fully developed, the current reincarnation elixir was already ridiculous enough. Thank you, Lord of Underworld, for your gift. We will do our best to nurture the young powerhouses of our race. Several old ancestors of the race spoke excitedly. They bowed and thanked the Lord of Underworld for his gift. This was not bestowed to them, but to the younger generation of Underworld. These two great Tao of reincarnation elixirs origin chi were enough to lay down a terrifying, true, immortal foundation for the young sovereigns of Underworld. In fact, Underworld controlled the great Tao of reincarnation, which was the most powerful divine ability in history. One had to admit that this great Tao of reincarnation elixir's origin chi was hard to find. Of course, with the strength of this item, ordinary true immortals would find it difficult to bear and refine it. They would need to be strong and stunning enough to absorb it. In the myriad race battlefield, Su Yin took out a large number of immortal Tao stones and elixirs to replenish the treasure space opened by his physical body. At the same time, he pushed his own life essence to strengthen his combat body once again. Zhu Songhua. He also got the Emperor ranking to descend in advance. Unbelievable. Zhu Songhua's strength surprised me. Of course, the Flame Emperor's Flame Sparrow is also very strong. Although she lost, it's enough to prove her potential. This was the second time the Emperor ranking had descended in advance so far. Although there were many who were stronger than Zhu Songhua, no one dared to compete with them on the Emperor Road's battle stage. For example, the Xian people's first sovereign, the strongest sky pride of the Undying clan, the saintess of the sovereign sect. Good. Our clan has a chance to rise. Zhu Songhua will definitely be in the top 10 of the Emperor ranking in the future. The Heavenly Bamboo clan was in an uproar. Zhu Songhua, who had fused with the primogenitor's root, was extremely powerful. At this moment, he stood on the battle platform of Emperor Road and said coldly, "What a bummer. I didn't manage to kill him." And the young Demon King. I didn't expect him to go to the second city of the Immortals and even summon the Emperor ranking. What a bummer. His confidence was too great. Just how peerless was this primogenitor rootstock? Once Zhu Songhua stepped into the true immortal realm, this primogenitor rootstock would surely become a supreme treasure that would allow Zhu Songhua to climb to the top of the world in the future. This was equivalent to the strongest material to achieve the immortal Tao. Its value was unimaginable. Time flew by. More than 10 days had passed. The powerhouses from various clans were amazed. The Emperor ranking had appeared more than 10 times in advance. They had to admit that this era had surprised them. Some unknown powerhouses had performed exceptionally well and were likely to achieve great things in the future. What? The Emperor Road's battle stage of the Underworld's third major region has been taken away. Who did it? It's not just here. One of the Emperor Road battle stages of the Odd Heaven sect has been taken away as well. The commotion continued. They were the most prosperous immortal orthodoxies. Who would dare to take away their Emperor Road battle stages? However, the truth was right there. The Emperor Road battle stages of the two great sects have been taken away one after another. But now, they wanted to take them back. It was too late. The end of the Emperor Road battle stage competition was just around the corner. Be starred. It's the Celestial Court's doing. Who gave them the guts to snatch our Emperor Road battle stages? We didn't go looking for trouble with them. How dare they target us? This is outrageous. The important figures of the Odd Heaven sect and the Underworld were both shocked and furious. The two lofty clans had never expected that a void immortal powerhouse from the Celestial Court would attack their Emperor Road battle stages. Everything happened so suddenly. Doesn't that mean that the Celestial Court has obtained 4 seats? No. One of the Chaos Grotto Heaven's seats has been taken away. They've obtained 5 seats in total. This is unbelievable. The outside world was in chaos. 5 seats. It was unbelievable. Well done. That's what we should do. What right do they have to set up a boundary? The Celestial Court did well. Many people were also clapping and cheering. They were very excited. The Yuan had done something that they wanted to do, but did not dare to do. What right did they have to seal off the major regions? What right did they have to forbid outsiders from entering the battle stages? What right did they have? This storm was a little scary. It had shaken all the major clans. They felt that something big was about to happen. The Celestial Court had snatched away 5 seats. It was equivalent to the birth of 5 peerless true immortals in the future. The impact was huge. Chaos. Everyone was shocked. The battles in many major regions were intense. What's there to be afraid of? Kill. The Celestial Court is already in such a state. What are we afraid of? If we don't fight now, we'll regret it for life. Even if I die in battle, I'll give it a try. The Golden Age storm was nearing its end. It caused a large-scale bloodbath and disrupted the structure of the 10,000 tribes battlefield. Almost 1,000 major regions were engaged in a bloody battle. All kinds of geniuses appeared. They wanted to fight for a future in a true immortal Tao. Bastard. This action angered many immortal sects. In the Great Era, when the immortal sects ruled the world, such an incident was equivalent to stepping on their nerves. If they did not fight now, when would they? The Great Sun sect's void, immortal Overlord has died in battle. The Yellow Dragon Valley's genius has fallen. The Azure Cloud sect's strongest successor has died in battle. Overnight, the 10,000 tribes battlefield was filled with a terrifying bloody aura. Almost a few hundred Emperor Road battle stations had changed owners. This also caused more people to participate in the battle. They wanted to fight for a future and obtain a true immortal pass. Chaos. The entire world was in chaos. It was less than a day before the end of the Emperor rankings. Thousands of Emperor Road battle stations were engaged in a bloody battle. It caused a sensation in the world. Ha ha ha. There were also peerless geniuses who were roaring. They had obtained the right to have the Emperor rankings descend in advance. He roared, "If I don't push myself, I'll never know how strong my potential is. I gave it my all in the battle and activated my life essence to strengthen myself. Ha ha! On this bloody day, the Golden Age storm arrived. That's what we should do. What's so great about the immortal sex? The world is vast, and there are billions of geniuses. Everyone has a chance to rise. Only the strongest Ingjia has the right to reflect the Emperor rankings. If he can't do it, he can't do it. What kind of hero is he to rely on the suppression of the other tribes to get on the rankings? That's right. Well done. In the outside world, some old men were restless. They were overwhelmed with emotions. Many of the experts from the immortal sex looked extremely gloomy. They did not expect this to happen in the end. Many declining immortal sex had their only slots taken away. One could imagine how shocking the impact of this matter was. Young Devil King. They gritted their teeth in hatred. If the 5 kings of the Celestial Court had not appeared out of nowhere, such a ridiculous thing would not have happened. It was not that these forces did not have the 5 great kings. However, due to the checks and balances between the immortal sex and the immortal sex, they did not dare to let go of everything and wantonly fight for the slots. It was too late to say anything now. The second stage of the Emperor Rhodes battle of 10,000 had begun and ended. Boom! From this moment onwards, the 10,000 tribe battlefield suddenly fell silent. A majestic ranking list, like the investiture of the gods, filled the entire 10,000 tribe battlefield and slowly descended. The 10,000 Emperor Road battle stations resonated at the same time. The ranking is about to be released. Birds chirped and the fragrance of flowers bloomed. The scenery was beautiful beyond compare. A woman in a gray robe walked lightly in this pure land. She raised her head and looked at the Emperor rankings. Dao Shui's celestial beauty was unparalleled. She was like a dream, like an orchid blooming in an empty valley. She was mysterious and unique. Later, I'll update an article about Dao Shui on the public account with her image. Search for Ye Qingtian on Weibo and add her as a follower.